What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo! Or whatever that sounds. Yeah. This week we are talking about a movie nobody asked us to talk about. We saw one clip on internet and went, this is probably worth all of our and your time. And that's what we're going to do.
Fucking internet.
But first, how's everybody doing?
Personally, great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Diggins, you personally doing great?
I'm fantastic, Nando.
Oh my goodness.
Skidee.
Diggins is amazing. DJ is amazing. An incredible wowee. It's never been this good before.
I've never exited a movie we've watched for this podcast in higher spirits.
Yeah. And
Cosign.
This is going to be amazing because so we're going to talk about this movie. I can't wait. But also, before that, we got some news to discuss.
Oh,
Real quick, just want to throw this one out here. This is like the biggest news, but I am curious. Did you guys see what's been going on Disney Plus this week?
Like Moon Knight going on?
No, but as if Moon Knight is like maybe, I don't know, doing some sort of circus to distract everyone. In the background, Disney Plus is also doing this weird thing where they're taking out a bunch of the scenes with blood in them from like Falcon and Winter Soldier, apparently.
Oh, really?
You seen this?
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
They have ratings and stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
didn't they just do that thing where you can set up a kid account that can't access anything above a certain rating?
I
Yep,
don't know.
they did do that.
Like,
Yeah, they did.
They did, but I don't know why this is what happened, but they are doing this, so...
Maybe they heard us talking so much about how bad that show is, and we're like, well, clearly the only reason it could be bad is because of all the blood.
I
So
guess.
if we take the blood out, the show will be good.
That was my biggest problem, was that when people got shot, they had blood on them. Now people get shot and they fall over and go like, ugh. That's pretty good.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of PG-13 movies pull that particular trick.
Yep. I mean, that happens in this movie, too. A person gets shot and they go, ugh, and then they get up.
Yeah, but, there's maybe a reason why there's no blood that time. A different reason for why there's no bullet hole, but a legitimate reason for why there's no blood.
No bullet hole's incredible.
No, yeah, it's so good.
Shirt's totally good. There's blanks.
Yeah. But we'll be talking about that, I guess, if that becomes a big problem and they start messing with, like, Daredevil and the ones we like. But, yeah, they did that with Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So weird. But Moon Knight has some blood in it. Very famously, he just wakes up in a big pool of blood every day, like in Blade or something.
Every day he opens the door to his apartment, and it's like that scene in The Shining. The blood just all crashes out into the hallway.
Well, did you see what Disney did to The Shining? Now that is just cotton candy or something. Now it's just an empty elevator with like scary music.
Well,
it's like elevators here, sir.
No, I don't know if you know this. Famously, to get it past the censors without getting an even higher rating, Stanley Kubrick convinced them that was just rusty water and not blood.
Wait, really?
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean it's not. It's clearly blood, but he convinced them that it wasn't.
I guess it doesn't
good.
have the consistency of blood is like the only art. Like that's not how blood works. Any of that. That's not how it plays out. But whatever.
I mean, well, is it though?
No, that consistency is much more of water in that scene. If I remember correctly, maybe I don't remember correctly.
I mean, I'm sure the actual effect was water. Even Stanley Kubrick wasn't psychotic enough to fill an elevator with real blood.
He was taking a little bit of Shelley Duvall's blood every night with like a little syringe, filled it up in the elevator.
It took a long time to fill that elevator. No one opened that.
Serious man. He does, he does his auteur stuff, and we got to respect him. That's the only option at this point,
Yeah.
We can't look back. We just look forward. Speaking of looking back, we should also look back at the 700th annual Oscars. I don't even know what year. We're in the 70s, right? Something like that.
94th?
Yeah, it sounds right.
It's definitely in the 70s.
We're never remember the number for this one. We're just going to refer to it as that thing. Where Army of the Dead won fan favorite. That's all
I was going to say, we got to talk about the big things of the night.
Yeah.
Army of the Dead.
The year Flash entered the Speed Force.
Flash entered the Speed Force, yeah.
I have a thing on mostly the Army of the Dead one. So if I understand correctly, that was like an internet vote that they did.
That's right.
It was on Twitter.
Is the Academy out of their damn mind? That's not how you get to find out a thing, is by asking the internet, because they're gonna pick the bad ones or like make you watch Pinocchio, a true story.
I feel like I think it's the opposite. I think they were like, hey, Snyder fans, vote on this poll. That'll get us a little bit of play, and share it, and then also watch the thing when your movie wins. And that's the only way you'll get this insanely dedicated group of fans to watch the Oscars. I feel like that's the plan.
I mean, No Way Home was like 4th. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, I'm out. This is stupid.
I mean, Cinderella was pulling for a while pretty high.
God.
Cinderella ended up number 3, didn't it?
What was number 2? Michael Morbius, the trailer?
It should have been.
It should have been.
Gosh.
Well, next year, baby. Cross your fingers.
I honestly can't even remember.
Yeah, this is a good idea for these polls. What would you guys say is the best fan moment of last year?
The fan I mean,
or
I actually do think...
Here's the thing.
The fuck they called
here's the thing, Nando. It wasn't the most cheer-worthy moment of last year. It was the most cheer-worthy moment in movies ever.
Yeah, because The Matrix was like number 5. Yeah, The Matrix bullet time was number 5.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So we're never going to do it again? 74 more Oscars will check back in?
In all of cinematic history, the most cheer-worthy moment ever is that Flash entered the Speed Force.
That is so embarrassing for the Snyder cult. That is so embarrassing. Oh my God. If it was just 1 year, I'd be like, I think you could, I don't know if it's a good case, but I think the case could be made that was like something people cared about last year. But for the whole history of film, oh my God. We joke. Jeff Foxworthy jokes about participation trophies and how they're for millennials, whatever. This is the participation trophy of movies. It's insane. What do you guys think is the most cheer-worthy moment of all of movie history? Is it that time that the train came at the screen and everybody ran away? That's pretty good.
So my one right answer would be like Gandalf the White, like showing up at the Battle of Rohan. Like that's probably the one, right?
No way.
It's when that guy stabbed that woman in the shower in Psycho.
Oh my God, that is a good one. I think it's that time Buster Keaton threw the beam to knock the other beam out of the path of the train.
So is this
that
wrong
always
answers
gets
only?
me.
Is that what we're doing?
I mean, listen, mine is good. And the Psycho one is good. What other ones are there? What are the cheer-worthy moments when Hannibal Lecter
the Psycho one, a cheer-worthy moment. Woman getting stabbed is a cheer. Yeah, take that.
Well, listen, Snyder fans were there, so I think violence towards women is something we'd be cheering for.
Well, you're not wrong, I guess.
Oh my God. Yeah. What if next year it's like the fucking scene where Sucker Punch fights a big old train or whatever happens in Sucker Punch? In 8 Oscars, it's the Owls of Gahools valiantly saving the Gahools. Just every year, it's like 4 legitimate ones. Like Ripley comes out with the power loader, and then it's the 300 guys all beating up the Persians.
Actually, the 300 kick's a good one.
Yeah, 300's pretty good, honestly.
But they'll pick like 300 when Leonidas doesn't let the disabled guy join his army.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's not my favorite. It's probably my favorite of his movies, just in terms of like it's the most simple. It's fucked, but at least the action's pretty cool. I gotta watch that again. Nah, probably not. But yeah, Watchmen. It could be Watchmen. It could be when I don't know what happens
when they have
Watchmen.
sex over that one song.
Yeah, everyone's favorite.
That was good.
Good golly gosh.
Yeah, I mean, listen. There's not that many. Zack Snyder's got to get to it. Start making some movies. I mean, he's got one coming out, too, that's like a space Star Wars-y something or other. So maybe that'll win next year. I don't know. Really good stuff. That's so funny. Did anyone accept it?
No. Even worse, it was like the lead into commercial breaks. That's why it was like so stupid. And the funny thing was like they showed it on a screen in the room, and I don't know. I can't remember if these happened post the incident, but like there wasn't. It didn't even seem like there was an applause in the room. It seemed like they played it for an empty theater. Like that's how just like no one introduced it. It just showed up on the screen. They played it. No one clapped. Cut to commercial. Like
the cheer-worthy moments were definitely pre-incident. I don't remember about fan favorite movies. I don't remember.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
My brain for the Oscars night was like pre-slap, post-slap. Like that's like where my brain was. Like after the slap happened, like my whole universe was upside down.
Wasn't that pretty much the end of the whole thing too? Like
it was
left.
Only an hour in.
Yeah, no. That happened. Yeah, like halfway through. And then the whole night we were, because him getting the Oscar was one of the last things that happened. Yeah. So the whole time it's like, because everyone knew he was going to win. It was like, well, he's got to say something, right? Like what's going to happen?
And he just said a bunch of bullshit that could make any sense out of, right? Or something.
Love will make you do crazy things, Nando. Love will make you do crazy things.
I've got to protect my family. Family.
And
family.
And
Lord Diesel up there.
Lord
really
Lord Xenu has given him a lot of forgiveness in the last 20 minutes or something, so it doesn't count. Because he is a Scientologist, right? We know that. That's a fact.
I don't know, but he was talking about God. That was like the weird part.
He talked about the one true God, Lord Xenu. He lived in a volcano and then exploded into little devils or something. I don't know.
You should know, Nando, that DJ was so shocked that the slap happened that he literally called me afterwards to be like, "Did you see that?"
All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. I would like to get into this.
Let's get into it. What a week. Bing. That's what it sounds like.
So the slap happens, right? Everyone already knows. Blah, blah, blah. I called Diggins because he was the only person I knew besides my mom who I knew was watching, right? Michelle was in the room with me. We were watching together. So I called Diggins because, understandably, it's the craziest thing that ever happened in live television. And I'm like paraphrasing, but Diggins basically goes, "Yeah, man, Will Smith really loves his wife." And I'm like, "Dude, that was crazy." And I'm sorry, Diggins, but you gave me nothing. I felt like I was crazy because you were so like laissez-faire about the whole thing. I didn't know what to do.
It was crazy, but I don't know. I guess I just listen. My whole reaction to the situation can be summed up with a single acronym, which is LMAO.
Well, and so because of that, I then had to call my mom, who she didn't see what happened before. She just saw the slap, and I tried to explain it to her, and she didn't get it. And she was like, I can't believe he did that. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that crazy? She's like, uh-huh. And then that was it. I had no allies, right? Michelle was as dumbfounded as I was, and
there's no way I was watching 10 minutes. So
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know so few people watch it in general, and the only people I knew who I could call were Diggins and my mom, and they both let me down. So
that's what I'm here for, DJ, to let you down.
I don't know. Man, that was crazy. Like, I get it. It happened, whatever. But it was crazy.
Well, it's pretty
How
crazy.
Did you receive it, Nando, as a person who doesn't watch the Oscars?
So before the Oscars started, like on my way home that day from something, I was like, I think I tweeted, like, listen, I'm not going to be tweeting about the Oscars unless something crazy happens. But here's my one tweet. Dune should win Best Picture at the end. And then
absolutely.
I still think it's true. But then
it is true.
Yeah. It's the most impressive movie of the whole year. Coda, like, compared to what?
Yeah.
I like Dune more than Coda, so Dune would win over Coda for me. But there were a couple movies that were nominated that I liked better than that one.
Like what? Which ones?
Like Drive My Car and West Side Story.
Double oof.
I get West Side Story as like, oh man, what a crazy piece of filmmaking. It really seems like, as much as I appreciate the idea of giving smaller films the recognition that they deserve, I feel like getting the nomination is plenty. But the idea that it's like, there's so many Best Picture nominees that like 2 years later we all forget exist. Like The Artist that win and like Crash. And it's like, I do feel like 10 years later we're going to be thinking about Dune and none of the rest of these. And for that reason, I kind of think Dune. That's all. And I think the fact that they made a Dune movie before and then everyone was like, it's unfilmable, and then it was pretty good. That's enough for me.
West Side Story has famously proven to be very unenduring in a cinematic format.
Yeah, West Side Story is... That's why I think there's a case to be made, except I didn't have nearly as strong feelings about that as I did with Dune, because I don't really like West Side Story, the musical. But I could see The Craft being worth winning the award.
I will say this. I think it's bullshit that it wins every technical award, but it can't be the best picture. Like, come on, guys.
Why not? I mean, it could be the best technically, but not the best movie.
Which technicals did it win?
Like all
6.
of them? Like every single one?
Yeah.
But then it should be the best movie, probably. I don't know.
Well, fine. Even more bananas than that is that, like, Denis didn't get nominated for Best Director because, like, who the fuck's hiring those guys? Like, come on. Like, have some recognition, Oscar voters, please.
No.
Get Paul Thomas Anderson out of there. My God.
I think what I've kind of come to decide from the Oscars this year is that they shouldn't do hosts anymore. It's bad. The jokes aren't funny. It's not worth your time. B, Flash entering the Speed Force is better than anything else that's ever happened in the history of film. Again, cannot forget that. And then C, I think they should just get rid of Best Picture. What's the point? What does it mean?
Ooh, no.
It
doesn't
mean anything.
I mean,
It's
none
just
of the awards mean anything.
Well, yeah, but, like, the actor one at least is a little easier to judge, like, kind of objectively. You can go, like, he had a really good performance that year. He had a really good performance. But with Best Picture, it's like, well, what's better about it? The cinematography is better in this one. The acting's better in this one. And those get awards. So it's not like you tally up all the awards and give it to one of them. It's just kind of an arbitrary thing.
There is a certain je ne sais quoi when you say some things are more than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, but I don't think you can compare movies that have already been broken down into the sum of their parts like that into any way that's like actual. I just don't. I think there's some films that get nominated, like Don't Look Up, that don't deserve it to be in the Best Picture running. But when you get all the Best Picture movies together, it's like, yeah, I don't know. They're all pretty good. They're all just about as good as all the rest of them. And the ones that win are are not consistently the Best Picture of that year. So it's like, what's the point of this award?
Hey, Parasite won.
Parasite did win. And then what won before that? Green
Book.
Green Book. That's the one. Yeah. So who gives a shit? The award is pointless. It's just a nonsense award.
I'm not defending the Oscars as like they always get it right. Everything that wins an award is the best movie of the year or whatever, because that's obviously not true.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think the idea of a Best Picture category is indefensible, nor the idea that something that doesn't win in other categories can win that one. Because there is, I mean, in the end of the day, it's an art form. It's not a fully technical thing that you could break down to being like, well, it got a 10 in cinematography, but a 7 in acting, so that means, there is that factor of just like, what did it evoke in you? What did it make you feel? What was that thing about it that really made it special to you? And that can be kind of what Best Picture is. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's usually what wins, is the ones that, best fulfill that question. But again, on the basis of just like the idea of it, I think that's fine.
I think, Nando, the answer that might be more satisfying is to add instead of take away, right? Like, why isn't there a category that acknowledges, what I don't know, like a blockbuster movie, right?
Absolutely not. Get out of here.
I love it.
Why?
I love it. Give it to the Flash every year.
Why do they
just
need
whatever
that?
Movie the Flash enters the Speed Force in, that year gets its own award for Best Flash entering the Speed Force.
Because, Diggins, you either have to put No Way Home in Best Picture, or you have to, like, give it its own category, but you can't ignore it.
Absolutely you can.
What? But that's bananas, man.
Why is that bananas?
It was one of the most popular movies that came out last year.
So?
How do you ignore it if you're, like, the movie people? That's crazy. Like, stuff changes over time, right? Like, so why are more animated movies up for Best Picture? Like, the last one was Toy Story. The last one was Toy Story 3.
Hate
and
animated movies. That's
they
really
said it in
ones.
their little joke this year. They were like, fuck animated movies. I'm Amy Schumer or something. I didn't watch.
Luca was incredible. Luca made me cry. Like,
sure.
And, like, Lord of the Rings has one Best Picture. Like, why are we saying that, like, these movies that are universally loved and are technically good, like a Dune, like, why could that be the only one that gets in Best Picture? Why not your Spider-Mans? Why not Doctor Strange coming up? Because that might be amazing.
Well, Lord of the Rings, they deliberately decided to basically Return of the King won awards for the entire trilogy. That was just kind of how they did it instead of just giving them a ton of awards like 3 years in a row or whatever.
Yeah, because they're cowards.
I promise the last two
they
will
wanted
get,
to
like,
give them a Beautiful
something.
Mind in Chicago. Okay.
Yeah, like,
okay.
What are we doing? It's so dumb.
DJ,
Yes.
those movies you talk about already make a ton of money. Why do they also need awards?
Because, like, if you're going to be the people who recognizes, like, what, like, the good movies and monumental movies are, like, I think you need to be inclusive of that. Look,
Absolutely
I'm glad,
not. You absolutely do not need to do that.
I'm glad I watched Drive My Car. Even though, like, it was rough, but, like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Power of the Dog. Like, I'm glad I watched those movies. But, like, it just feels like a farce. If, like, is your thing just, like, basically what you are is your baseball. You are a thing for a very, very small group of people and in a demographic of people that are aging out and dying out, and you have no intention of growing. And you will be your little niche thing that used to be huge, but is now so small, and you will never grow. Because you refuse to change anything.
And every so often, the internet will think it's cool when one of the players rushes the mound and starts a fight with the pitcher. Okay, I'm done. I just had to get that joke out before I forgot it.
DJ, you're just making a category error here. First of all, the most successful movies of the year are not the best ones, typically. I even like No Way Home. I don't think it's better than most of the movies that were nominated for Best
Don't Look
Picture.
Up. It's not better than Don't Look Up. Get out of here.
I said most.
That immediately.
I said most.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Also, Don't Look Up wasn't the worst Best Picture nominee.
I mean, it was subjective. The most annoying, probably.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was the one that I had the strongest reaction to of like, oh no.
And again, it's just like, I just don't understand this argument, because what you're essentially saying is making tons of money, having total cultural hegemony, being the thing that like the popular, that like the most people care about and talk about in the entire world isn't enough. We also need all the awards. Like,
it's not an also need. It's you have to understand that if you want to grow your audience, then you're baseball.
But it's not just about the audience, DJ. It's about, these are people working a craft who want to honor their craft. And like what you're suggesting is that they should just decide every year that whatever makes the most money is also the best movie. And like, no,
just if it's quality, if it's Lord of the Rings, if it's No Way Home. I'm not saying No Way Home just came out.
Lord of the Rings did win awards, and then No Way Home
right,
didn't.
But it's 20 years ago. It's been 20 years. What are we doing?
What do you mean?
Toy Story 3 was 10 years ago, and Toy Story 4 was 10 times better than Toy Story 3.
Black Panther got nominated like a few years ago. It's not like it never happens.
That's fair, but like, I don't know. It's like a novelty when it does. Like, I don't think that's good, right?
I think that, again, it's going for a different thing, and I just don't understand this need to have it turn into the same output of everything else as being like, we got to honor the same movies that are already being honored with money and attention and Twitter mentions or fucking whatever. You know? I think it's good that we have this little corner where we could say, we're going to take some movies that are different than what typically make tons of money, and we're going to honor those tonight. I think that's good.
I agree. I agree with you. I think that is good. I just don't think it needs to be exclusive, but I get it, right? Everything I mentioned, that's for like the MTV Movie Awards, right? Best kiss, coolest action scene, coolest flash moment, right?
No. That will keep in the Oscars forever.
So, all right, I get it, right? I guess I, as a viewer, would like to have everyone come to my cool party, not just when an assault happens on stage. I would like it to be, hey, maybe you could be like F1, where you were this little niche thing, but you're actually growing because you're finding a way to like hit a digital audience with your Netflix show and change the rules so that it's more compelling and the cars are faster and like the races are short and it's very digestible for like a TikTok, Instagram age, and you're actually able to grow what it is you have instead of baseball where you're shrinking it by making it longer, less digital, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's all I'm saying.
I also think that creating a best blockbuster category would ultimately be worse for blockbuster movies at the Oscars in the long run. Just like they created the Best Animated Feature category when Beauty and the Beast got nominated for Best Picture, and they're like, we don't want that to happen anymore. So now they have this separate category that they can put all the animated movies in, and they don't feel obligated to nominate them for Best Picture. So it ends up being the same thing. It's just like, here's this lesser category that we don't really like, that we could put all of those movies in, quote unquote, and then we can keep the movies we like in Best Picture. And so then you end up with a situation where something has to be like phenomenal, best one ever made, to even end up in Best Picture, instead of just, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, And I get that, right? And I'm not saying that specifically as that's something that like would needed to be put in definitively. I'm just saying in general, maybe there should be an expansion of categories. But I will say this. I think unequivocally it's so clear that these people making the TV show have no idea what they're doing. Because I am in the camp of people that were mad about the technical categories. It's bullshit, and you put those back. Put those back.
The ceremony's a disaster. I'm not going to argue that point.
It's a garbage fire.
I just don't think not honoring blockbuster movies is the problem.
Fair. That's fair.
So here's my counterpoint, because I've been listening and then I've been thinking. I feel like the counterpoint here is if this Best Picture category mattered at all, it would be like more than half right. Like more than half of them in the last 20 years, you'd be like, wow, that was the Best Picture that year. But they fuck it up so many times. Why even have it? It's not. It doesn't measure anything. Because so many of the years, it's like, what's the Best Picture this year? And it goes, I don't know, $1 Million Baby. And it's I'm not sure. Maybe it's The Hurt Locker. And it's like, it's not though. It's not The King's Speech. It's not The Artist. Like, it's not Spotlight. And I feel like the problem, and Green Book, but I feel like the problem with it is if we look back 20 years and we went, wow, you know what? You're right. The winner of 2000's Best Picture, that was the Best Picture of that year. That was the most interesting and cool and memorable and stuff. Like, if these were the best pictures, we would give a shit about them. But they're so frequently wrong that it's like the category is pointless because there is no metric. There's nothing we're judging. We're just picking one that we all kind of like, but it's not like I think you could make the case that usually they get the acting awards right.
Nope,
I don't think this year was correct, but I think a lot of the time. No, I think
disagree
that's fair.
entirely. No,
you don't think that's true?
The Will Smith and King Richard type performances almost always win. But those types of performances always win. Like, I saw that performance,
yeah, but it's usually good.
He's probably going to win because this is the type of thing they always nominate. It doesn't make them sometimes they're better than others, but they're never the best performances. They're just, like, really flashy and showy in a way that tends to get attention for these kinds of things.
Okay, that's fair. But I think those at least tend to be kind of defensible in the sense that it is like a performance. So I don't know. I just feel like the Best Picture nominations are just like, they're just not good. The winners aren't good. You could look at almost every year and go like, nah, it's something else. You know? Like Dances with Wolves. Come on.
That's because it's such a subjective thing in the first place. I mean, there's literally nothing you could pick that a majority of people would go, yeah, that was the best movie last year.
Well, I mean, perhaps, but not last year. But like, you look back in 1998, is the Best Picture that year Shakespeare in Love? Not really.
I've never seen Shakespeare in Love.
What else came out? Sure. Right, like that's like
that's
tough.
The
right?
Saving Private Ryan year.
Okay.
Saving Private Ryan.
But then, if Saving Private Ryan came out, a lot of people would be like, "Well, was that the best movie of the year?" I mean, it's good, It's
right,
just
but
like there's
20 years later, we look back and we go, "Well, it was Saving Private Ryan, though, because that's the movie that is the best one because it's the one that people give a shit about." Like, it's like if you're judging anything else by bestness. And then 3 years later, you forget it exists and you remember something else because you're just like, that's really good. That's the best one. If these were the best pictures, if A Beautiful Mind was the best picture of the year it came out in, people would care about it. Gladiator beat Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like, it's just bullshit. It's mostly bullshit.
Hold on, you can't tell me that people don't still talk about Gladiator, because they do.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, no, they do, but they're wrong. But
well, but see, that's what I'm saying here. Like, it doesn't matter how much whatever metric you bring up, it doesn't matter how much something fits it. There's always going to be cases where a person goes like, "No, but that's not the one, though. They're wrong. The other one was the better one that year," and it's just like that's just how it works. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, but it's a stupid category for that reason, because it's all wrong.
But all the other categories are always wrong, too. That doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, but I think there's other categories, and a lot of people pointed to editing for this as the one that you can go back and go like, wow, they nailed that. Matrix won Best Editing when it came
Rhapsody,
out. And you're like,
Best Editing of the Year, 100%.
Well, yeah, no, that one they fucked up. But, like, they gave it to Jaws, they gave it to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, there's just something about Best Picture that asks for movies like Green Book to win. And it's like, here, you make a movie about how that makes the white people feel nice, and that'll win. You know, that's what we want from this. You make The King's Speech. Yeah, that's better than Social Network. That's better than Toy Story 3. It's better than Inception. Like, and I don't know, it's just pointless. The whole idea of like an Oscar movie is bad, and I think a lot of it comes from Best Picture just being a category.
It would have been nice with the expansion from 5 movies to 10 that, you know, maybe we could have included more of those, like, mass appeal movies or you know, kind of bringing something different. I think you get some of that, right? Like, maybe you don't have a Parasite or a Drive My Car in a 5-movie field, so you get more in a 10, but then you're just getting things where if you have to have 10, you're putting in, like, a Don't Look Up that, like, needs to get there. Here's my thing, right? There's no reason that Don't Look Up is in the field and Spider-Man isn't, right? That's all I'm saying.
I disagree.
Okay, that's fine. We can disagree. We can disagree. That's fine. It's fine. It's totally good.
I would be okay with taking Don't Look Up. I would not replace it with No Way Home.
I mean, yeah, it just becomes more of the same.
Like, it's equally kind of, for me, like, none of them are that. Like, those two are not Best Picture, but neither is more Best Picture than the other because it's a pointless category for me. And
so, actually, here's a great example, Diggins. So, obviously, right, we're 18 billion years from the next Oscars, right? But Everything Everywhere All at Once is like getting crazy good reviews. Like, oh, this movie's so good.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it soon.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be in like one of like 3 places to see it until April 8th,
well,
I think, or whatever.
Guess where one of those places is? It's New York
You're better
City,
than us,
baby!
Blah! Thus plebs has to wait a couple weeks.
Well,
but like,
if you could choose to live in the greatest city in the world, but you just don't. So
I would never live in the great state of city of Tallahassee, Florida. So, but like, will that movie, which seemingly has like, you know, is gonna be amazing and seems like really different and weird, like, will that? I'm not saying it's gonna be the best movie of the year, but like, will that get any kind of recognition? Because it probably should, if it's as good as people are saying it is in the early previews.
I mean, probably not.
Probably won't, because it's coming out in like March of 2022.
I would like it if it did,
but it won't, because they're just wrong. They're wrong all the time.
They're bad at it.
Again, we're arguing about a different thing here. I'm not arguing that everything the Oscar does is right, because that's obviously not true. I just think the solutions you guys are advocating for are not going to improve anything.
All right, let me try another one. All right?
Okay.
All right. So next year, you have to make it now that Chris Rock gets nominated for something, right? So Will Smith is presenting, and then Chris Rock comes, and he, like, neck breakers Will Smith, right? Just, like, knee to the stomach, and then neck breaker RKO, boom. He gets arrested immediately and is put in the back of a cop car. So when it comes out for him to get, you know, let's say he wins, whatever, the cop car busts through the stage wall, and then he kicks the door open. He breaks out of his handcuffs. They throw him 2 beers, and he comes up, I'm here for my fucking award, and you guys can't handle me. I'm the greatest actor who ever was. And that's how you fix the Oscars.
Is Chris Rock doing this in this story? I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
In this version, I'm saying it's Chris Rock doing this in my fantasy that I've now created.
Yeah, I mean,
what
that
do you guys
sounds
think?
fair.
I fixed the Oscars.
I mean, I feel like they should just stop doing them, but also, I don't know. I think they should tweet them out like the Golden Globes. We like that, right? That was good. I think they should be tweets. I don't know. I feel like my problem with it is that they used to be cool, now they stink. Like, I do think, you look back, okay, look back at the 1970s Oscars. They really fucking nailed it.
Oh,
they got
man.
some good ones.
Nando's yearning for winning time, where you can just sleep in the Playboy Mansion and, be disrespectful to women and just do whatever you want.
When a Native American activist goes up to make a speech, John Wayne almost kills her with his bare hands.
Not John Wayne. Or was it John Wayne?
It was John Wayne.
Oh, I thought it was Clint Eastwood. Never mind. I mean, listen, old white man guy, cowboy man. But yeah, you're probably right.
Po Buddy's nerfed.
Either way, like, you look back, like, I just feel like there was a time where I don't think if Rocky came out today, it could win Best Picture. I just don't think that's true, because it's become this nonsense category.
It depends.
But, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think it could. I feel like
very, kind of small or out there or weirdo independent movies do still win. I mean, honestly, one could argue that Coda is kind of, somewhat Rocky mold. It's this sort of weirdo indie movie that got made out of, like, one person's niche concern over this one thing, and, like, it's kind of their passion project that is just kind of this feel-good story, Like, I think Rocky is a better movie than Coda, but there are parallels there.
I mean, I feel like Coda is that movie for the Academy where it's about how performing is the most important thing and stuff like that, and that Rocky doesn't have that. I think that's what elevates something from, maybe it'll be Best Picture nominated to, like, now it's looking pretty good. But even though beyond that, like, I don't know, I feel like the Best Picture has become meaningless. I think maybe Spotlight was the year they messed it up real big, but
Spotlight's a good movie.
Yeah, but it's not better than Mad Max.
It's not Best Picture. Yeah.
Like, and that's
okay. Mad Max is never going to win. I'm the biggest Mad Max
but it
stan
should have.
I'm the biggest Mad Max stan on earth, and I'm not that upset about that.
I feel like that was the inflection point.
Maybe you're the problem, Diggins.
They could have been cool, and they could have done Mad Max. They could have been like, listen, we know it's an action movie, but we're going to do it instead of the biopic. Not like biopics, it's not biography, but like the true story movie. Or we could do the true story movie, and they went the other way. And I think it's the same thing where, like, nobody talks about Spotlight. And it's only been 7 years since that movie came out. And nobody talks about it.
I genuinely do hear Spotlight get brought up every once in a while.
Really?
Do
you go to Boston and they're just like, it's awesome?
Yeah, do you talk to the guys from the Spotlight movie?
In a context of just talking about movies, but not in casual conversation. But yeah, I've heard it come up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll never have a musical. You know what had a musical? Rocky.
Rocky did have the musical.
That's true. They'll never say never on Spotlight having a musical, though, DJ.
That's true.
I should count my chickens.
Also, maybe Big Short could have a musical? No. Mad Max could have a musical? That would be fun, wouldn't it?
I don't even know how you do that.
Like little RC cars. And you'd zoom in on it. That would be great, actually.
That would be great.
Yeah. I don't know. Parasite winning was such a crazy moment because they did a good thing.
I know.
That I just, that kind of was the moment where I was like, oh, wow, these might not be bad. But then, I don't know.
That was the year when we could have had Best Picture winner Joker, but we didn't. Ugh. Everyone should be thankful.
And there were a bunch of movies in there that I'm like, that was a really good movie. Like 1917, really good movie. Jojo Rabbit, really good movie. Yeah. But then Parasite was like cooler, better. Yeah.
We'll never get another Parasite like Best Picture Parasite ever again. At least not for like 10 years because everything's all fucking distorted. And
well, how about this? It's been a year. How do we feel about Nomadland? Best Picture?
No.
I enjoyed it.
In the list it was in. I don't know what's better or what should win. I mean, I like Sound of Metal better. I think that was probably my wasn't my favorite movie of 2020.
Movies that I definitely liked better than Nomadland in this list: Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, and Sound of Metal.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's other movies too that didn't make it onto that list.
Oh yeah, there's always
that are
movies
better
that I liked better
too. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see Five Bloods. Was that good?
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a good. It's great. Anyway, Oscars, man.
Do you guys think they have metal detectors?
For security?
Why not?
Could Will Smith have stabbed someone? That's what I'm getting towards. Could he have stabbed somebody?
Yeah, why not? They got.
Right.
I feel like you.
There's no way they have metal detectors.
Did they serve food in those? Oh, I guess not. Because you could just have a knife or a glass or something and go stab crazy. There's stabbable things in there.
Oh, there's drinks.
I'm just saying, like, you could probably bring a knife.
There's a bar in the back.
Is that are you telling Chris Rock what to do next year to defend himself?
Well, now they'll have metal detectors is the problem. If they didn't before, they will certainly have them now.
But are those metal detectors going to find these hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
What a crazy thing. Wait, Nando, I don't think you ever told us how you experienced this. I think we went off on like
Nope.
a weird tangent.
So I got tweets that were like, hey, there was something crazy that happened. And I went, what is it? And then I watched it and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I was just kind of on Twitter, keeping an eye on it. It was pretty crazy, and I did enjoy the twittering about it. I think a lot of funny jokes were made, and I had a great time. Yeah, so I did watch it. I saw it when he cursed and stuff. That was the clip I found. That was a good clip. I like that a lot.
That only played internationally. What DJ and I saw was they cut out the sound and then kind of glitched the footage for a second.
It's bullshit.
You were able to read Will Smith's lips. I'm like, he said, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
It came back in time for us to see Will Smith screaming that, and you could see, he was enunciating very clearly. It was pretty easy to see that's what he was saying.
You guys think we're going to get a Madagascar 5?
No, probably not.
Because they're both in it.
Is there a 4?
Yeah.
I thought they stopped at 3.
No, there was a 4.
I haven't seen a Madagascar movie, I don't think.
Ooh, we could do the Madagascar series for the pod. That could be a future.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the first one, and I have a friend who swears by the third one as one of the best movies ever.
Oh.
Really? Ironically, or like, no.
Best picture material, you think?
Kind of like me with Nicolas Cage, where it's like, maybe it's the start it was ironic, but at this point it's become extremely sincere.
I see. Okay. That's
nice. Yeah, I mean, it's a, it was good time was had by all. I love it.
There is no Madagascar 4. You're all lying to me.
What? I could have sworn there was.
Was there a TV show? Was there a spin-off movie with like the lemurs or whatever?
The Penguins.
The Penguins had a movie.
They had a
movie. Spin-off with the Penguins, but it's not Madagascar 4.
Oof, wow. That's a nitpick right there.
Madagascar 4 as far as I'm concerned.
Keeping us honest.
I don't like those movies, probably. Who made them? DreamWorks?
DreamWorks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're good. You guys, speaking of animated movies. About, I don't know, are those about like a little thing that wants to do something else? That's what all animated movies are about, right? Do they want to like go to Madagascar?
They're about actually Madagascar 3 involves the zoo animals joining the circus.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a connection point to a thing.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. Hey, do you guys think Squid Game should be Best Picture? I think it should. I think they should have made an exception. Squid Game for Best Picture. Yeah, it was the Best Picture last year. If it was a movie, I don't know.
Yeah, if it was a movie.
Yeah, so let's just pretend it was and give it Best Picture. It's the best
thing. That's how it works.
Maybe it seems off.
Maybe we should do another separate Oscars on top of the Oscars. That's just like the media awards, and then we can do Best Thing, and it's like all of the. It'll be like
You want the EGOT awards to be their own thing.
Yeah, I want everybody who wins a thing in the other ones to go up against each other. So Best Actor in the Tonys versus the Golden Globes versus the Emmys versus the Oscars versus SAG Awards and BAFTAs. And then, and then we pick the best one, the best thing of the year. Because, I think Squid Game would probably win this year. I assume it won for, like, in the Emmys. Or at least won enough to get in. Really?
I don't know, though. I don't really follow the Emmys.
Well, if they didn't win Emmys, then I mean, maybe it's weird because I don't know how the Emmys works for like a foreign language thing, but yeah, I feel like that's what they should do.
Yeah,
Battle
I think
Royale.
Emmys is primarily American, like the Oscars, so I'm not sure.
They should have made an exception. They should have like international category because Paris like Squid Game was like the best fucking thing.
Yeah. So
yep.
That's what they should do.
That's what they should do. We fixed it, boys.
And then after that, we take that thing and put that up against a bunch of other things, like cars that got released that year and hats that got released that year. And then by the end, we just have the best thing of 2022. And it's a thing that we just decide on.
Flawless.
It can be the COVID vaccine. It can be Squid Game. It can be, a Kendrick Lamar song. Yeah, it can be text messages. It can be anything. It can be a specific person that we just like that year, and then I think that would be fun because if we're gonna do it, just take it all the way. Could this win? Could Pinocchio win? Maybe.
Well, it would have to be in a foreign language film because it's Russian.
And even in English, it's kind of a foreign language, you know? It seems like it's a foreign language to some of the people reading the words in English. I'll tell you that right now.
That's for sure.
Yeah. We got to talk about Pauly Shore, you guys. And his wonderful movie that he was kind of in, according to, like, Twitter, but then apparently not in every version of, but in at least one. We're going to talk about Pinocchio, A True Story.
A true story.
It's a true story.
True story.
You guys remember when that happened?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, actually.
It was a couple of years ago. Yeah, Pinocchio happened. It was pretty awesome. Did you guys see him at the circus? Did that make it to your town?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I remember. It was a while ago now, but yeah, they were coming through town. When I got back from it, when my family got back from seeing that circus, though, we found out that all our worldly possessions were missing.
Holy shit.
They'd been gathered up in one medium-sized big bag and taken from us.
Oh, no. The same happened to me.
What a weird coincidence.
I wish we had better cop than that one cop who was in charge of this whole thing. I feel like they probably could have cracked this case. It wasn't just him.
Well, he should have followed his passion instead of just trying to find his daughter, you know?
Also, when does this movie take place that we have cops and detectives?
Where does it take place?
It's a great question.
So many questions.
We got to talk about that movie. So, who is in charge of the IMDbing today?
It's me.
Oh my
Mario.
God. DJ, take it away.
Okay. Who gets to go? Is it Nando?
Probably.
Nando was last week's loser, so Nando gets to choose.
Okay.
For the IMDb, B as in spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm going to go first.
All right.
I'm going to say after the true story of how a little wooden boy brought to life by a magical spell and his talking horse Tybalt, little wooden boy named Pinocchio brought to life by a magical spell, and his talking horse Tybalt joined the circus in a search for adventure.
All right, Diggins?
The true story behind the legend, the living wooden puppet Pinocchio must find out what it takes to be a real boy after he joins the circus.
Nando by a hair. Yes. Nando by a hair.
Damn.
You didn't mention the horse, Diggins. If you did, it would have been a tie.
I
could have mentioned the horse Tybalt.
I didn't mention Tybalt.
Yeah, that was the mistake.
Or alternatively, Tybalt.
Yeah, a lot of different ways to pronounce Tybalt in this movie. None of which seem to mind. Like, Tybalt doesn't seem to even have a preference or know how to pronounce his own name.
So here we have it. Congratulations, Nando.
Thank you.
The summary is: young Pinocchio runs away from his genius creator Geppetto, accompanied by the horse Tybalt, to see the world, and joins the traveling circus run by hustler Mojofoco.
Mojofoco. I mean, listen, whatever it was a stupid name.
It's spelled Modjafocco. So
I don't think that's right. IMDb.
That's how it's spelled on IMDb.
I believe you that's how it's spelled there. I think IMDb is wrong.
So what is it, Diggins?
I'm pretty sure it's Mojofoco.
Oh, well, I guess.
Wow. I do think that's right, because I feel like we hear that name a lot.
DJ, you could just call him Papa Giaffo.
Yeah.
So, Nando, would you like to begin by giving us your thoughts on the movie?
Yeah. So here we go. This week I've been working on a video it's my April Fool's video. I'm putting it specifically on Nebula. It's about the characters from the Mojoverse in the X-Men. And I've done some research on them. And I've always known about the character Spiral, but I never quite knew what her deal was. It doesn't come up a lot of times. She's just kind of there. And that's the one who has like 6 arms and kind of dresses like a samurai and whatever. And what happened with her is Mojo found a woman that was traveling with Longshot and tortured her and gave her extra arms and stuff. He also gave her the ability to teleport through dimensions. And what that did was not only did it give her the ability to teleport through dimensions, but kind of by accident, it also opened up her mind so that she could see everything. Like, she became able to see into all of the universes and stuff, and just drove her insane. That kind of happened to me when I watched this movie. My mind was open to something that I didn't think could possibly happen. And it's not that the movie is bad, because it is. It's very bad. But it's also, like, I want to say wrong, because it's not, you can't, it's art, but it can't be wrong. But it's wrong. Like, it doesn't do
like
things
morally.
Like morally on like a cosmic level. Like, it's just it's got everything about its own movie wrong. It doesn't. None of it makes any sense. It doesn't look good. So it's not just bad, because it's like and also, for some insane reason, and we kind of touched on this a couple times, it says it's a true story, as if that was ever the problem with the Pinocchio myth, or like something that, you know, or story or whatever. And it's like, you could do that. That's a take, but this isn't it. So I just don't quite understand what it is. Like, I don't. So, like, I guess having seen it and having it at the end, it goes like, this is what I was. This is what the movie was. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. That's not what this movie was. And also, yeah, the voices are bad. It's really awful. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's upsetting as hell. I hated it. I really, really hated this. Like, I think I liked Cats more than this, and I think Cats is better than this. So yeah, and you know what? Better music in Cats. I'll give them that. Way too much music in this.
And yet also so a little enough that when it started, I was like, this is happening now?
Yeah, I need a making of this movie, though. I don't know if that exists, because I just got it on YouTube. Like, I downloaded the movie on YouTube. So, like, I don't know if there's behind the scenes, but I would love to see Pauly Shore in studio. I'd love to see him doing a table read for the first time. I'd like to see John Heder doing his reads, because
Napoleon Dynamite's own.
Yeah, like, what happened? What did they did they like get him? Was this a surprise to them? Did the whole crew just show up at Pauly Shore's house and shake him? Wake up! Say all these lines real quick. And then he just did. Like,
felt like one take, right?
Yeah, it felt like one take, and he was like asleep. It's so weird.
They only had enough money for all three American actors to spend 30 minutes in the booth each.
Yeah, this might be the first movie ever recorded via Cameo. Like, it just feels like the most economical, like, okay, read this line, okay, done. Read this line, okay, done. It's so weird. I don't know. I hated it. It's awful. No one should watch it. Watch the clips on YouTube that are the funny ones, and yes, it's easily the worst Pinocchio movie ever made, and they've made some bad ones. Like, it's weird.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I guess that's true. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's public domain and people kind of know what it is. But, like, we got some rough Pinocchio movies. We got 2 more coming out this year, and one will probably be good.
3 Pinocchio movies in 1 year. Our cup runneth over. Like, what
honestly.
the fuck?
And,
it's the year of the Pinocchio. We should have made that prediction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all I got. This movie stinks. Diggins, what about you? Also, it's like, it's weird and, like, Russian, too. That's also part of it that's very strange. Like, it's not, but it is. It's like, so it's produced in another country, which is weird.
Yeah. It's weird when the characters take a break from the plot to talk about how Ukrainian is not a real ethnic identity.
Yes. And real bold of us to do a Russian movie this week.
You know what's crazy? Michelle said, like, are you guys sure you guys should be doing a Russian movie? And I'm like, well, we can't blame the artists, Michelle. That would be monstrous.
I don't believe that the staff on the making of Pinocchio, a true story, hold a lot of sway in Vladimir Putin's cabinet, you know?
But couldn't you also see some oligarch being behind this? You know, just like, make me Pinocchio movie. It'll be fun. Will you make Pinocchio? And then, like, I gave him $6, you know? So that's fucked. Shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't have paid for this one. I don't know, but I did. So, sorry.
Well, I think renting it in America, you gave Lionsgate money because they distributed
it. Yeah, there you go. Is that better? Yeah.
I don't know. They're probably also terrible. They're a corporation. But Diggins, what about you? What did you think of this movie? Pinocchio, a true story.
So, It feels wrong to compare this to, like, movies. Because this is some, asylum-level trash shoveled out in Russia. Like, in another country, and then very hastily dubbed over in English.
Oh my gosh.
What I'll say is, I gotta go the opposite of Nando here. If you've seen the funny clips on Twitter, and you're like, that's probably all I need, there are so many more insane things that happen in this movie that have not made their way to Twitter. Like, you need to have a certain kind of appetite for really, really bad movies. Because here's the thing. Normally we talk about big releases, big Hollywood movies, stuff like that. Even when we go smaller scale, indie type stuff, there's still, fairly major releases from a big studio or something.
Like a Money Plane even.
Like a Money Plane. It's like by the WWE studio, right? Which is a little cheaper than most other major studios, but they're still putting some money and care into that, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a level of bad that is almost impossible to reach in movies like that, because there's just too many people who care about making money off of it to let it get that bad. Like, if it starts looking that bad, they just can it at that point.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So this is just like pure, uncut, just how bad can you make a movie? And I personally find something kind of beautiful about that. Something incredible. It's like, this is something you will never see in the movie theater. You will never, ever get to see something that is just this big of a disaster.
This could be the cheer movie of 2022 or whatever at the Oscars. The day Pinocchio entered the Speed Force.
So if that sounds interesting to you, this is a primo bad movie. This is something to put on with your friends at 2 a.m. when you've ordered some juniors, and you're like, yeah, let's just watch some real fucking garbage. This is a perfect movie for that kind of situation. Other than that, in the cold light of day with your family at your side, maybe not.
Yeah, I wonder if a kid would like this,
Oh my god, I would never show this to a child.
A kid would like anything, Nando. That's the thing to realize here.
Yeah, they're idiots. They gotta get it together, kids. I hope.
One of my niece's favorite shows right now is actually a Russian show with animation roughly on par with this one.
Is it
Pauly Shore in it?
Yeah.
Sadly, no, but I think he should be.
Yeah, I mean, there's always time to dub it over, right? That seems like that's what they did here. So, fuck it. Let's get Pauly Shore in everything. DJ, before we start talking specifics, what did you think of Pinocchio True Story?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle between you two, because
what a shock.
Look, we're nothing. We're like the Oscars. We're nothing if not predictable.
Hey DJ,
yeah,
stop talking about the Oscars. Keep their names out of your fucking mouth. And then I punch you. That's a funny joke.
Incredible, simply incredible.
Yep.
So I didn't feel like I left my body like Nando may have while watching this movie. I'm probably closer to Diggins. I'm like, this is so bad. There's a funniness to it. I broke down laughing so many times, but it is because my brain broke. So
yeah.
Maybe I did have that kind of experience, but I didn't leave the movie being like, wow, I effing hated this. I'm like, it was more like a wow, I cannot believe I watched that. I don't want to be too myopic. It might be the worst movie we've ever done, because Diggins is right. I would propose that these movies are hard to find. It is hard to find something that made it to through production that is so thoughtlessly cared for and terrible. That's not easy to come across, but Twitter makes for a hell of a drug, and lol, you can totally just once in a blue moon, find that one movie that's this is terrible and it was made. So yeah, I think Diggins is right. Don't watch it sober, and only watch it if it's the thing that you would have some kind of remote interest in, just seeing a train wreck of a movie. Because it's not just like the movie's bad, like, oh my god, the plot's so stupid. It's like there's nothing in this movie that you could point to and be like, wow, they crushed that part of the movie. There's literally nothing. So yeah,
it's really
that's where
weird.
I kind of fall. This movie's weird. It's a weird movie.
It's awful.
Incredible. Loved it.
It's I don't know what it is. Like, what is it? What did we watch? You know?
What we watched 90 minutes of a plot about a boy, but it could have been any boy. You know what's crazy about this movie? It matters so little that he's Pinocchio.
Yeah.
This movie could have been about Jeffrey, the little boy. Like, why is it Pinocchio? I don't understand.
Well, because
the nose doesn't grow.
You know, the fact that there's going to be a couple Pinocchio movies. Well, DJ, as the talking horse says at the beginning of the movie, a nose that grows in this story that is about a wooden puppet magically come to life being told by a talking horse. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
You ever seen a nose grow, DJ? Get out of here.
My bad. Yeah, it's my fault.
Now,
I think there may be an asylum aspect to this where because there are Pinocchio movies coming out this year, they want to churn this out on the off chance that people will see it and be like, that's one of those Pinocchio movies that came out this year, and buy it.
Yeah.
I guess it's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
Now, my big question was, so they say this is a true story. Now, I know this isn't a true story. However, I mean, I don't know that. It may have happened. Like we were saying, it did happen, actually. But also, is this somehow more true to the original Pinocchio? Is that what this is?
Like the book?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it isn't. I looked it up, but that was what I thought during the movie for a little bit.
I was going to say, I've never read the book. I cannot imagine that to be the case.
No. It's the weirdest thing about this movie is it is about Pinocchio, a little wooden boy, and then he wants to join the circus. And then it becomes about a weird circus performer who lives with a bunch of other circus performers and does tricks and shit, and sometimes the circus is mean. And then it's like, that's a different movie. Then it does Dumbo. Most of this movie is Dumbo, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
It's so weird.
But then he's Pinocchio again because he wants to be a real boy for a little bit there.
Yeah, and it's like, I guess I kind of get why, but also why? Why does he want to be a real boy?
Well, we'll get there because there's plot things that go on in this movie that require utterly baffling decision making on the part of every character involved.
Oh man, yeah. I guess I don't know. Where do we start with this one? The intro's terrible, like you were saying. It's really bad. Yeah,
it starts with Tybalt, the horse, telling us that this is the real story of Pinocchio without any ridiculous nose growing. But he is a talking horse, and Pinocchio is still a magical wooden boy. And he's a magical wooden boy because Geppetto happens to be friends with a fairy whose wand he fixes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he built a wooden boy to just kind of sit next to him at dinner.
Yeah, here's the other thing about this Geppetto is, like, way sadder than every other Geppetto because he calls Pinocchio his son before he's alive.
Yeah, he's like a weird creep. When it seemed like the lady was going to come over to his house, like before we figured out quite what she was doing, but when it was just like, oh, whatever her name is here, I was like, oh, you got to put that doll away, buddy. That's not going to work.
I will say, when she's driving away and she's talking to her cockatoo, she's like, should we do something for our dear friend Geppetto? And cockatoo goes like, the usual, and I think they've boned.
Oh, shit, yeah.
That's what it seems like. That's not crazy, Diggins.
Should we do something for Geppetto? Yeah, fuck him. Like, what does that mean? Is that there's her and the cockatoo? Is he part of it?
He watches, you know?
Oh, shit. Cool as hell. So...
also, while he's naming his wooden son...
Oh, fucking shoot me.
He, some reason, makes both a Leonardo DiCaprio joke and a Ninja Turtles joke.
Yeah, let's break this down one by one.
Yeah.
So he's coming up with names. I forget what the first one he throws out is, but that one is thrown away immediately.
Giuseppe, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. So, we named Giuseppe. Also, this character, the Geppetto, is played by Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob and all that stuff. It's not bad. I didn't hate him in this.
I think he's
fine.
I mean, it's not his best work, but I think he's the most, like, it's fine voice in there.
Now, he is kind of doing an accent. Now, we'll talk about accents. It's a big problem.
We'll talk about how this movie decides it's in Italy, but only kind of.
Yeah. So he goes to the thing and, oh, Giuseppe, that's not a good name. And then he says, oh, what about Leonardo? And then he says, oh, no, if he's named Leonardo, he'll grow up to be a selfish actor or a painter or a turtle who loves pizza. Couple things. Is Leonardo DiCaprio a selfish actor? Is it part of his deal?
I don't know.
He's an actor. I thought he was kind of good with climate change and stuff. He seems selfish.
He does. He's active about fighting climate change. He does refuse to date a woman after she turns 27.
I mean, that's him protecting the women over 27 from him, you know? It's selfless, if anything, you know? But yeah, if that was it, that would be way better. It's like, oh, he'll be Leonardo. No, then he'll be some fuckboy actor. That's a movie now that I'd watch. Then he says painter. When does this movie take place?
It has to be after the 1400s, so Leonardo da Vinci has been around.
Already a guy. Yeah. So that's weird. And then, Turtle Who Likes Pizza, sure. Whatever movie. That's like the only thing even approaching like a pop culture reference in this movie. It's so weird.
That makes you think that they might full out Shrek this bitch, but they don't.
Yeah. I don't get it. Maybe the guy writing the script wrote it like in one sitting and wrote one joke and then went, this isn't for me, but then didn't take out that joke.
Maybe Tom Kenny threw that in the recording booth, and they're like, "Damn it, we can't make him do that again. We only have 30 minutes."
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Hey, Tom, just I know there's a script there, but kind of play with it a little bit. You know, go kind of loose some like ad lib with it. Just kind of feel out the character. Okay.
Yeah, here, Tom. I think this. Or like Tom Kenny be like, "Hey, I think this script is great, really fun. I'd like to add one joke. Just one. It'll be the only joke my character makes, and it'll come right at the beginning of the movie. So 10 minutes in, you'll have forgotten about it. However, this joke is in the trailers, almost in an effort to like sell this as a Shrek, I think, is maybe why this exists. It would be weird if anybody else made this joke or anything like this in the movie, but yeah, it's just there. It's really weird. I hated it. They named Pinocchio for no fucking reason, too. Just Pinocchio. I don't know.
Does Pinocchio mean anything in Italian? I don't know Italian.
I
little boy who lies. I don't know.
And then he makes Pinocchio. So he just like makes it. By the way, the movie opens with the whole body of Pinocchio laying on a table, and then he takes the head and like jams it in and goes, "It's done." So he's pretty much got his Pinocchio all done. He should have thought of a name before this. But he gets it, and then he sits it next to a chair, like sits it on a chair next to a table. And it seems like all day long he will just take this big giant wooden boy, walk it around the apartment, or the house, assuming doesn't come alive, and just like go like, "Hey, Pinocchio, look, it's a beautiful day." He's fucking nuts. What the hell is going on with this guy?
Here's the other thing. I feel like Tybalt should be gravely insulted because he's like, "I'm making a wooden boy because I'm so lonely."
Yeah.
And then Tybalt pops up like, "Hey man, Pinocchio's a weird name and the boy and the puppet looks ugly. Also, I'm here? You can talk to me? What do you mean you're lonely? What the hell?" That's not what he says, but he should say it. Instead, he just says the first part. Then Geppetto, talking about Tybalt, helpfully points out to us that he is the only talking horse in the entire world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And nobody gives a shit.
I was going to say, you think that might mean that anytime he talks from here on out around other people, they'd be like, "Whoa, that horse can talk." Nobody ever cares.
Well, and also, there's also humanoid animals later in the movie, and they're just they're like Zootopias. Whereas Tybalt, for people who haven't seen the trailer, is just a horse. Like, a horse.
But also, there's only 2 of those Zootopias. And again, nobody thinks it's weird that there's a cat and a fox that are just like people wandering around, talking and doing stuff.
Yeah. This whole movie involves a character going to a circus and being like, the circus is like, "We're out of cool shit." And he's like, "I got cool shit." And it's basically just Pinocchio shit. but it's the horse, right? Like, the talking horse is a pretty good circus attraction on its own.
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, you have a talking horse and a magical wooden puppet that can talk and move and everything, and they just do regular horse tricks that any normal acrobat with a horse could do.
Yeah.
Like, they are not using the fact that they are magic beings that no one has ever seen before in any way in their act.
Now, I also want to ask a question, and we don't get this answered, but I'd love to know, where do you think Tybalt came from?
Narnia.
The fairy, right? Because she's the only, like, kind of magical thing.
But he doesn't know the fairy.
But maybe he was brought to life by the fairy
and doesn't know
previously,
it,
or like,
so wait,
you're right, he doesn't know
actually,
the fairy.
Here's an important question. So has Tybalt just not been around every time that, what's her name? What's the fairy's name?
I could not.
Lucilla or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Every time she comes around at a booty call with Geppetto, is he just not there? Because later when they find her, he has no idea who she is. They act like they've never met. But she is personal friends with Geppetto and comes around sometimes.
Yeah, maybe that is how Geppetto handles it. He's like, Lucilla's coming over. And then he goes, Tybalt, would you like to run around the backyard for 100 times? Do that and make loud horse noises to drown anything else out. Have fun, Tybalt. I think that's what he does. Maybe the cockatoo like entertains Tybalt. Maybe that's its job during all of this. Like it's like the stepdad who like comes in, hey sport, want to play with these toys, and then that keeps Tybalt away from all of the lovemaking. I don't know. Maybe that's
hold on. If the cockatoo's the stepdad, who are the two people having sex in this scenario?
I don't know. I guess it's just fulfilling that role. But yeah, it's just another person. I don't know. But yeah, so then Pinocchio, the witch / fairy or whatever, because she's a fairy, but she's not. Like, she's like a size of a person.
Yeah, she just looks like a normal human being, but she can do some magic, I guess.
Like a fairy godmother type.
She does magic once in the entire movie, but, whatever.
Well, and then she gets her wand fixed by Geppetto, like we said. Then she's like, let's do him a favor. Now, she doesn't know he made a little boy. So she just kind of throws some magic back over her shoulder at the house and just lets it do whatever, I guess.
Maybe she casts like a fulfill Geppetto's deepest wish right now spell.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Pinocchio comes to life.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. What do you think of that scene?
Incredible.
I mean, it's such like a nothing, right? Yeah, right?
Every scene where Pauly Shore gets to talk is the best scene.
Well, I think this one is extra terrifying because, he opens his eyes and then Geppetto's like, Pinocchio, you're alive. And he kind of passes out. And then Pinocchio, as Pauly Shore says, like, alive, and then falls also. But he does it in a way that even I, knowing what this movie is, I'm like, oh, did I get the wrong one again? Is this one also not have Pauly Shore in it? It's really weird. He does like a Frankenstein kind of movie impression of like, it's alive, but like, yeah, he's just a little wooden boy. Who knows? Why does he know that? Here's a question. How old is Pinocchio, if you had to guess?
Well, we see him come to life. He's minutes old at this point.
Sure. How old is he supposed to be if you had to map this to another human being?
Like 13, 14?
I was going to go with like 12, maybe.
It's hard. The Pauly Shore voice makes it he could be like 25.
Yeah, it could be Pauly Shore's current age. It's probably like 50.
Come on, Tybalt.
Yeah, Tybalt. So his new thing is horses. Little Pinocchio loves horses. Or horse, I guess, the one.
Just the one horse that they have, Tybalt, the only talking horse in the world.
And he does like backflips and shit on Tybalt, and it's his favorite.
I will say, at one point someone points out that he rides the horse bareback, and that's impressive. And I do think this is the one part of this act that helps that he's a wooden boy, because there's nothing to get absolutely fucking destroyed by riding a horse bareback that would happen to a regular little boy.
Oh, no. Do you think then, if he becomes a little boy later, spoiler alert, that his horse riding career is over?
Well, he's got to put a saddle on that horse now.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I will say, I do wish they brought up the fact that, like, he is made of wood, for that to come up. but it does not at all.
No.
I mean, it comes up a couple times.
Not in a getting meaningful way, I feel like.
Although there's the one big one.
I mean, but that could also just be like, well, I don't know actually which one you're talking about, but because I think there's 2 points. There's one that's like a plot point and one that's like I guess they're both plot points, but one's like an event and one's like a plot point, and I think they could both just be normal people things.
I meant the event. The one that happens pretty early.
Oh, which event is that?
We'll get to it.
Oh, yeah, that one is weird. Okay. But yeah, so Pinocchio, horse riding genius, the best horse rider in all the land. What happens next?
Yeah, he does a bunch of tricks that, do you think these tricks are impressive? I hope you do, because you'll be seeing those same exact animations over and over again throughout the movie.
Yeah, they really do milk
Reuse,
those.
Recycle.
This movie also likes its like weird 3D perspective kind of thing. It feels like a very put your 3D glasses on now kind of movie. Especially like at a couple of times that aren't this, but this too for sure. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, but he's not happy, you guys. Pinocchio has a problem.
He has a dream, Nando.
What kind of dream?
Oh god, I can't remember what kind of dream it is. Nando, do you remember?
I don't remember word for word. It's something like a most special, most wondrous dream or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever tells us what the goddamn dream is.
Yeah, it's to go out and see the world.
Just like to go adventure and stuff.
It's the most wonderful dream, Tybalt.
See, I think TJ might do the best one out of all of us.
Thank you.
It is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's the only one I've ever nailed.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Is Pinocchio here?
No.
Okay,
no.
Cool.
It's just my impersonation.
It's a bummer.
He's not actually.
DJ, I hope in a few months your child doesn't come out and go, Father.
Oh God.
In that case, you shoot him. God. Like the cat was right; it knew what was going on. You lay that thing out. But yeah, he has a wonderful, most specialist dream or whatever, and it's to do horse stuff and go outside and just explore the world. Geppetto doesn't want him to do that. Now, why?
Because Pinocchio is too gullible and doesn't know enough about the world. He says, you're too gullible.
And
which later turns out to be true. So Geppetto was right.
Smart man.
Do you guys remember? I think it's like pretty early on when we get introduced to the cops. Do you remember how they're like questioning Geppetto?
This is right around this point. This happens.
Yeah. So what is the deal with the cops?
Well, the cops show up, which are just 3 guys, 2 random extras, and 1 dude.
Yeah, it's a very like Dogberry routine that we get from these 3. And I don't know why, but it is a very important plot point. Like, they're super plot important for no reason.
Yeah, but they show up to Geppetto's house and go, we're looking for some criminals. Have you seen any criminals?
And then like Tom Kenny's like, no, of course not.
Well,
and he's like, don't you think it's suspicious that there's no one suspicious hiding around?
And then I think Tom Kenny even says, like, the only person that's suspicious here is you. Right? Am I imagining that line?
Yeah.
Like, good for you, Tom Kenny. Fuck the police. Like, get very, very cool Geppetto.
Tom Kenny has
Take
one
out
of those
your phone and start recording them.
Geppetto has one of those welcome mats that's like, come back with a warrant.
And he could have used one because instead of that, the police just go, we're going to search your whole premises. We're going to do an unwarranted search because you were mean to us.
Yeah, but also this is like the 1800s or something, so they don't need a warrant.
That's true.
I don't know when it is, but it's definitely not modern times.
They have like the puffy like collar things.
Yeah, that's true.
I felt like they're more like Renaissance. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great question.
He doesn't know when it takes place, man. He's detective constable. Like, that's not a real thing.
Yeah, but then
detective constable.
So like when Geppetto sees the police coming or something, he says like, Pinocchio, hide, as if Pinocchio is somehow illegal.
Yeah, right. It's like, this is the
things Geppetto's been having him do.
Yeah, right. Like. And also, as if Pinocchio's like, Pinocchio, hide. It's like, that's not what you... Just tell him to not move. Nobody's going to go...
Yeah, right?
Oh, a real boy? They're going to be like, you made a wooden boy. That's pretty weird. But it's not illegal, I guess.
Pinocchio himself even says that. After they leave, Geppetto's like, oh, I was worried they'd find you. And Pinocchio goes, but father, if they found me, I just wouldn't move.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But they don't... The police, even though they're about to barge right into the shed... That Geppetto is like, no, don't go in the shed. There's nothing back there. So, like, you gotta get a little bit better at this, Geppetto. They don't go into the shed. You guys remember why?
Because they hear gunshots.
Yeah. And who to our wandering eyes does end up doing these gunshots?
Well, it turns out that right at this moment, nearby, a traveling circus has parked their wagons. And the master of the circus... Mangiafuoco, Signor Mangiafuoco.
Yeah, you give him his proper respectful title.
Is discussing with his two lieutenants of his circus, Cat and Fox, the only names we ever get for these people. And I say people, but they are in fact an anthropomorphic cat and an anthropomorphic fox.
And they're the only anthropomorphic animals in the whole thing.
Yeah. They're just discussing how they don't have any good acts for the circus, and they need to change that. And while they're having this discussion, the cat is just shooting holes in their tent with a gun for no reason.
Now, we will learn later on that the cat and the fox, their routine in the circus is guns.
Yeah, they do gun tricks.
They do gun tricks, yeah. And their gun tricks are really weird, and we'll get to them.
I cannot wait to talk about their gun tricks.
But even before that, it's like he uses a real gun.
But it's like the first gun ever made.
Yeah,
it's like a mini blunderbuss. It's so weird.
Why when does this movie take place?
And it's so weird because the gun, like, the cops are like, holy shit, a gun. Someone's shooting somebody else. And you're like, yeah, does this happen everywhere they go? They just start blasting, like, as their practice routine, and the cops come. You figure you would call the cops before and be like, by the way, we're going to be shooting our guns. But
call them on what, Nando?
Oh, it's a great question. Who knows? Send a pigeon. But yeah, they go investigate this. Now, this sets off a really weird chain of events where one of the bullets lands and
one of the bullets, despite being the exact same animation we see the first time you do this, including his first bullet hole from that scene being gone and making that same exact bullet hole again.
Yep. It's bounces off a couple things and startles the horse in charge of a carriage that is part of the circus.
Yep, and that horse just goes fucking nuts.
Absolutely crazy. And it just so happens to take a carriage with it, a carriage containing the only character whose name I remember in this. We will learn later is named Bella, and this horse is just gonna kill her.
Yeah, Bella, who is Mangiafuoco's daughter.
Yes, she is. I believe you're right, Diggins.
Nothing more.
All evidence points to that. Yeah. So she, we will learn she is really sweet at like doing acrobatics and shit.
Mm-hmm.
She only stays in the thing because she's getting weird mixed messages from the circus folk at the time.
Yeah.
They're like, go die, don't get out. And then we're like, no, get out. She's like, I don't know what to do.
Well, here's the thing. Here's maybe a bit of foreshadowing, Nando. Perhaps the only foreshadowing in the entire movie. That's not true, but the only foreshadowing that one might consider halfway competent, which is Cat and Fox are yelling at her like, jump out, you'll die if you go over that cliff. So I guess they're not all bad. But her dad is going, don't jump, you'll break your leg, and then you can't perform. So maybe telling us something about his real character.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, you know how else she might not be able to perform? If she dies, right? Like, preserve your corpse. We just can't have you break any bones. We'll do a whole Weekend at Bernie's kind of thing. We just can't have any broken bones. But,
he's already proven later. He really proves later that he's willing to put one puppet in the show. What's a second puppet?
That's true. That would be a wild, like, change of events. Is like Pinocchio is pretty much just a regular wooden boy, but there is a dead marionette girl in the movie, and Pinocchio falls in love with her. And she's like, I wish I were a lifeless marionette just like her. And then that's the end. But But yeah, so it starts this big old chase scene. Now Pinocchio has a choice to make. Mm-hmm. For some reason, like we said, he is like kind of illegal Pinocchio, and he can't go out, and Daddy doesn't want him to go out and save anybody. Mm-hmm. But then Tybalt is the voice of reason in this.
Well, Tybalt is stone cold.
Yeah, it really is.
Now, Tybalt, I feel like we've said it maybe once or twice, played by John Heder in this. Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep.
Just awful. Like, unbelievable.
Listen, he does all the horse noises himself, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. Not even that good, though. It's like what DJ did. It's horse.
Wilbur.
It's insane. What happened, John Heder? Did they not make Blades of Glory 2?
Yeah.
Like, where...
He only had 30 minutes in the recording booth, Nando. You know, you got to work with what you have.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, John, if you could do the horse noises for us, we'll probably like dub it over later. But just so we get a feel, could you just do the horse noises for us?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, no problem.
You could convince me that John Heder has never seen a horse, doesn't really know what they are, but kind of knows what they're kind of supposed to. Their deal is because he plays it. Like, because he's John Heder. He doesn't sound he sounds like John Heder. And sometimes this movie, also dialogue-wise, is sometimes very formal and sometimes not, which is weird.
Well,
you know what
I think they're trying to sort of brute force the dialogue into kind of sort of matching the lip flaps of the original Russian, which is a thing that often happens in dubs.
That's genius.
That results in somewhat awkward translation sometimes. Except this one, it exclusively results in awkward translation.
Yeah, every line is like, "Oh, please, good sir, it's me, Tybalt, going to the fair," or something. Like, there's lots of words. But also sometimes, they make fun of Leonardo DiCaprio with a bunch of shitheads. It's very strange. Then Pinocchio becomes a hero and saves little Bella. Mm-hmm. That's nice of him.
Yeah. He gets, this is like the, it's like, oh, I'm finally seeing the world. I could get my dream and my adventure. That one wasn't very good. My home base is Tybalt.
I think it was great. Now,
thank you.
Then Pinocchio gets his first adrenaline rush, much like New Moon, and he's like, I gotta chase this high forever. So he wants to join the circus because no. Okay, so then he saves Bella, and they have their little meet cute kind of moment where you're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Then what happens, Diggins?
Then the cat catches up with them and goes, a talking puppet, and shoots Pinocchio in the chest.
Yeah, and Pinocchio goes down.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like, what?
It's alright, he's good though.
But he is. And so what if it's a talking puppet?
Yeah, you're a talking cat. What are you talking about?
Well, that might not be weird. We don't know what is and isn't weird in this universe.
I guess it's like, what are the options then? Either this is a talking puppet, which you cannot kill with bullets, or this isn't a talking puppet, and it's just a guy that looks like a puppet, and you killed him. I don't know. I just don't understand what the cat was thinking, because then Pinocchio just sits up and is like, oh, man, anyway, and then goes back to whatever he's doing. Like, the bullet doesn't even phase him. He's like indestructible wooden
or his shirt.
It's a good thing.
This is no part of it.
Well, yeah, they didn't want to animate having a hole in him for even a second. So there's no damage whatsoever. But yeah, he's like, he doesn't actually say this, but yeah, he's like, good thing I don't have any internal organs or blood.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. And then the circus guy is like, oh, I see a new star here. Because also, what we didn't kind of talk about, the circus is stale, right? That's their problem. They're not bringing in cash.
I said that was what they were talking about at the beginning. Like, we need new acts. People are bored by us.
Now, we will also learn later on that the profitability of the circus largely relies on something else. However, people do start coming to the circus. Mm-hmm. And their problem, like, I don't understand why they're not just circus people. Why is it just all above board, you mean? Yeah, why not? Why not just be circus people?
No money in it?
But then you get a Pinocchio, and then there's money in it now. I don't know. I guess like your traditional Dumbo story has this in it, where it's like, oh man, we need a good act to get money from the circus, because then we'll be successful entrepreneurs, people come to our circus. But then it's like, we need that to make money from circus, but also, I don't know. Well, it's weird to me.
Maybe they need the circus to be super popular because they can't tell who lives in what building. So unless everybody in town is at the circus, the risk is too high.
That's true. Yeah, and then they go and they get Pinocchio, and Pinocchio decides he wants to be in the circus. Now, Pinocchio is not allowed to be in the circus. Geppetto does not want him to be. So how does Pinocchio work around this?
He goes and asks Geppetto if he can join the circus.
Yeah, but like, doesn't Geppetto say no? And then he's like, yeah.
Well, Geppetto is like, I don't know. And so Pinocchio says, I'll go there and perform once and come back.
Yeah.
I promise.
But then also, he anoints Tybalt as his new father.
Oh, that happens later.
Oh, that later? Okay. That role
But yeah, that's an insane thing that happens later.
It's so weird.
Still, yeah.
Pauly Shore has to be much older than John Heder, right?
Yeah.
I have to imagine.
Far older. And,
so why weren't these flipped?
I mean, I don't think either of them could have really done either of these roles, so might as well stick with what we got. But yeah, it's just a weird, like, he is his manager. At one point, the circus man is like, you could be the manager, and
the
Tybalt
talent agent.
Yeah, Tybalt takes to this. He's thrilled. But then Pinocchio's also like, but you'll also be like my dad when I'm on the road. And that's really weird, right? That's very weird.
Yeah, he goes like, I don't have my dad here, so Tybalt, you need to be my dad. My impression of it's getting like way, way worse over time.
I'm trying to imagine Pauly Shore as Tybalt, and I think it would have been like, Pinocchio, listen, you're not gonna be safe out here. I'll be your manager and your father, all right, Pinocchio? Okay, Tybalt, I think that makes sense. We'll go for one night to do the circus, and then we'll go back to Geppetto.
Sounds perfect. Like, this is. We might as well have just made our own dub. Like, we can just do it again. Make them all. I think all Pauly Shore characters.
Guys, new. We don't have a Patreon, but new Patreon goal.
Oh yeah.
If we get funded enough, we're gonna make an all DJ cut of Pinocchio, a true story. DJ's gonna voice every character.
It'll get so tiring so quickly.
Let me do my Bella. Pinocchio.
DJ,
get it? All she does is cry. That's all Bella does is cry.
DJ, you're missing the very important detail that Bella is clearly a non-English speaking actor, but trying to not be that. It's got to be a little bit weird. It can't quite sound right either. And we also didn't talk about this. All the other characters are just played by some guy.
They're all one other name like on the Russian actors that can speak English. My favorite thing about Bella's clearly not being a native English speaker is that she pronounces Pinocchio as Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Like he's made out of gnocchi.
Yeah, maybe he is.
Oh my god.
Oh god, yeah. It's really weird because there's a bunch of random guys just doing random ass voices. They're all really bad. All right, we got to talk about the circus.
Oh, what a circus.
Horse
Run
Daddy and baby
Momofuku.
boy, little wooden boy go to the circus.
Run by the Momofuku Milk Bar.
So, what happens at the circus? Can we describe some of the circus activities and like attractions? That's what I'm looking for. We got strongmen. We got a clown on a bicycle or something.
Unicycle.
Yeah, like a unicycle,
right? Yeah. And that's it. And then the main things. So, Diggins, you want to explain the cats and fox routine?
The cat and fox, I would love to explain the routine, and especially I would love to explain the crowd reaction to the routine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we had mentioned this. This part I found really strange. So they're talking about how nobody's going to the thing, right? But everybody's there.
Yeah, it's packed.
It's packed. But they're all mad.
Good attendance.
Yeah, it seems like this is like
everyone's
people
there, but they're like, before it even starts, like, your show sucks.
Yeah, like they'll go to this regardless of the quality. But anyway, so yeah, let's talk about the cat and fox and everything.
So the two of them do gun tricks, like we were saying. Like first, the fox, after trying to warm up the crowd a little, puts an apple on his head and is like, my partner, the cat, is going to shoot this off my head. And the cat points the gun at the apple and pulls the trigger, and a bunch of confetti explodes out like it's a fake trick gun. And the crowd goes wild. They're cheering. They're hollering. They're like, yeah, that was a cool trick. And the fox goes, oops, looks like that one didn't work. Let me try it like this. And he throws the apple up in the air. The cat, like, aims at it in the air with his gun, then throws the gun aside, points at the apple with his finger, and explodes it with his mind. And the crowd is like, boo! Now this sucks! This part of it's terrible.
They claim to have seen it before. Like, we've seen this trick already.
Yeah, like, what did you see? What is it? Yeah, like, what's happening?
I would watch someone blow up an apple with their mind more than once.
Yeah. Like, okay, so what do you think is the in-universe explanation for what happens? Is it just
grenade
what you said?
In the apple?
Is that what it is? Maybe, yeah.
The fox pulls the pin when he throws the apple up, and then it just explodes in midair.
That's smart.
It's
Man,
funny.
you gotta cook that for the exact right amount of time, because if that approaches the cat's dead.
It's funny because they explain exactly how another classic trick works earlier, where they're like, catch a bullet with your teeth is just he fires a blank and the fox has a bullet in his mouth already and just like acts like he got hit and caught it.
Right.
But they don't. But then the kid explodes the apple with his mind, and there's no explanation for how he does that.
And also, neither of these are gun tricks, you know? No shooting tricks whatsoever in their little shooting routine. It's mostly just like clowning. But
maybe there's like a third anthropomorphic animal that we never see, trained on the apple at all times with a sniper rifle.
I was thinking about that. Yeah. That would be pretty useful. But
yeah, as long as they don't set themselves up in a position where the apple is between them and the audience.
Yeah, it's so weird that the audience doesn't like this. But
it's weird. Now, if they didn't like the whole thing, I'd be like, all right, I guess they're just bored of this. They've seen it a lot or something. But they love the confetti and then hate the telekinesis. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's so weird. And it just,
you don't want to repeat tricks, I think is what the message of this is, right? You want to be original.
Well, it's just weird to me then that they're like, it just further destroys this whole like, no one's coming to our circus thing. They're all already there. They're upset. Nobody wants to be at your circus, but they are there. And what more do you want? But I guess they want this. They want the next thing that's going to happen. DJ, you want to explain what happens next? The next act?
Yeah, so the next act is the wonderful acrobatic performance by Bella, accompanied with, right? Isn't that what's next?
I don't think it is. I think she
is it
closes
Pinocchio
the
now?
show. Yeah, I think Pinocchio is next.
Oh, my bad. That's right. So
yeah.
Sorry. So next is Pinocchio, the wooden boy.
Yep.
I don't remember. Is the fact that he's like a wooden puppet but talks and stuff like part of the billing?
It is.
Or is it just okay? So it's like, oh, Pinocchio, the wooden boy, and he's all dressed in gold. And Tybalt's like, all right, Tybalt, ready to do our most special routine? And they do their cool, I think it's Diggins alluded to, the single animation that they animated for this movie that was, shown earlier that Pinocchio and Tybalt were practicing in Geppetto's like fenced-in area. So we basically get the round 2 of that, like round 2 of 7 of this little show that we see throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah, it's basically
the crowd
like
loves it.
It's a backflip kind of a thing on the horse, right? Something like that.
He rides on the side of the horse, which is like pretty cool.
That's true. He does that.
I mean, they're for the most part they're tricks that trick riders do. If you go to, I don't know how many circuses still exist, but if you go to watch trick riders, a lot of this stuff you'll see riding on the side of the horse, standing up on the saddle, stuff like that. Not to say it's not impressive, of course it is, but again, it's just like, you could get a person to do this. I don't know why this is what you have the magic puppet doing.
And the magic horse. Like, you could also have a horse that's, like, so smart that it could do cool shit, but that's not what this is either.
Talk! It's the only talking horse!
Yeah.
The movie was very explicit. This is the only talking horse in the entire world.
And people love it. People lose their minds. for horse stuff.
Yep. So that's good, I guess.
I guess, yeah. And then another act happens. DJ, what's this one?
Right. This is the one where Bella does her very most special acrobatic routine with a song. It was the first song in the movie, which I was not ready for.
It's like over 30 minutes into the movie. There hasn't been a single song. And then this little girl starts singing, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It wasn't billed as a musical. Why all of a sudden this turned to a musical?
This will only happen one more time, I think. I think there are 2 musical numbers in the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, she does a whole thing about doing acrobatics. I feel like the text of the song is like up in the air doing flips, but I can't remember.
I couldn't tell you a single lyric from that song.
It is a diegetic song. She is actually singing it as part of her performance.
Yeah, and I feel like this is pretty impressive. I feel like she must do this every year. The crowd likes this. I think this circus is kind of killing it. I don't think they need Pinocchio at all.
Or to rob people? Like,
yeah, that's the other thing. I don't think that's valuable. I feel like they treat it as if that is the main business of circusing. Of course, yeah, you do the circus so you can get everybody out of their houses to rob them. But you don't need to do that. Just make a successful circus, which they do.
I mean, it's hard to tell, but I guess I'll say sure. They seem to make a moderately successful circus.
I mean, they have a magical wooden boy and a talking horse and all kinds of shit. It's pretty cool. So then, I forget what happens. So now by this point, Pinocchio has developed the hots for Bella. Now, she is a little girl, but like assuming of his age, pretty much like that same, like, you know, they're like, I would assume they're not the same age, but you know what I mean. Like, they're the same. Now Bella can't, like, she doesn't like Pinocchio, or does she the whole time? I could not figure this out.
I honestly, I'm with you. I couldn't tell which was like part of the con, or like I was pretty lost.
What do you think, Diggins?
Did Bella actually like Pinocchio?
How did she feel about Pinocchio? Kind of chart that through the story, but especially in its beginning bit.
I think she was like, I think she liked him from the start when he saved her life. I think she was always into Pinocchio,
yeah.
Pinocchio.
That sounds right. And then Pinocchio and Tybalt have a big talk about how he should fall in love with her, and then Tybalt...
Well, only after the montage of Bella and Pinocchio being the huge stars that bring everyone in, complete with a montage of different posters of static images of the two of them with the words Bella, Pinocchio, and circus just kind of haphazardly plastered wherever.
That's all you need. They got the Bella Pinocchio circus? Get the fuck out of here. I'm going.
It's just...
You've seen that kid on a horse? Also, he's made of wood.
And made of wood,
maybe that matters.
Like, you'd figure, I don't know, what would it be? He could fly more, kind of? He could, like, jump and then fly through the air because he's lighter? I don't know.
Like I said, he could ride bareback because he wouldn't be destroying his ability to have children in the future.
Yeah. He's a sensation. He's basically like, I'm in love with this girl. And Tybalt says, okay, what are we doing here then, buddy? And Pinocchio says, I don't want to ask her. And Tybalt's like, fuck you, we're asking her, I'm taking you home.
Tybalt's like, as your father, I demand that you try to make out with this girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. The whole stat sequence is weird. Now, what happens before? Like, how does that go?
So here's the thing. Bella overhears her dad, Mangiafuoco, and Cat and Fox talking sinisterly, which is kind of their basic mode of communication. They kind of just always talk sinisterly. I'd like to point out also, I forgot about this earlier, Mangiafuoco is shorter than Bella, which...
Yeah.
When, in the time period like now, where we still believe her to be his biological daughter, I'm like, damn, who's her mother, Cate Blanchett?
Yeah, this is a Nightmare Alley situation. Oh, wait, she wasn't in the circus in Nightmare Alley. She was the other thing.
She's the psychiatrist.
Yeah, what's that other lady's name? The one from all those movies where she what is her name?
Which one?
The not psychic.
Yeah, the fake psychic.
Toni Collette.
Yeah, Toni Collette's her mom. That makes sense. A lot of circus movies this year. More than one, which is my usual amount of circus movies per year.
But anyway, my usual allow.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mangiafuoco, Cat and Fox are talking sinisterly about how, thanks to Pinocchio, they are going to have sold-out crowds, which is perfect. Everything is going exactly according to plan. Now, here's the thing. That's pretty much what they say, which sounds like, hey, the circus is doing really well. I'm happy about that.
Right?
Yeah, our plan of making money at the circus is going very well.
Yeah.
We're going to make some money.
For some reason, somehow Bella is able to hear this and go, they have a secret evil plan that they need Pinocchio for. Which turns out to be true, but from that conversation, that is not the conclusion I would have drawn.
No, not at all. It doesn't make any sense. So then she gets all like, oh, I'm no good for you, Pinocchio. But then also, the fox and Cat get involved.
Well, first she does the Harry and the Hendersons thing. Where
right, yeah.
She's like, get out. And then she goes, also, I don't like you because that'll make you leave. Get out of here. Yeah. No, we don't want you around. But yeah, then the Mangiafuoco gave explicit orders to Cat and Fox, like, I need Pinocchio to stay here. Don't screw this up. You guys just literally the only thing I need you to do is to not do anything that makes Pinocchio want to leave.
Yeah, encourage him. Say, oh, give it another shot. You never know, buddy. You know, listen to your horse. But
yeah, see what Tybalt says.
Instead, what do they do?
DJ, you want to take this one?
I don't remember exactly what they do.
They start haranguing him about not being a real boy. This is where that whole thing comes from. As if that is like, oh, you're right. I guess I should still be in the circus with her. Like, I shouldn't do anything about it. And it forks the movie into this weird second direction that I still don't quite understand. Like, looking back, I could completely forget this part of the movie happens, you know?
It's completely unnecessary. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't add anything to the movie except time.
Well, you had to hit that 90 minutes.
Yeah, and you do get that really sweet scene where they do trickery. That's pretty fun. Love that scene. So yeah, and then Pinocchio decides he gotta go be a real boy. Now
because then he'll get the girl or whatever.
Well, because after he's moping, like, oh no, Cat and Fox are right. I can't get the girl because I'm not a real boy. The clown comes up to him and says, "There's a fairy who lives on a mountain. She could make you a real boy."
It's pretty good. Thanks, clown.
That's all he says is that the fairy lives on a mountain. Doesn't say which mountain.
To be fair, I believe Pinocchio later says there's only one mountain. So this has to be it.
There's only one mountain here, but the clown never said she's around here somewhere. He just said she exists.
That's true, because they are a traveling circus, so it could be any... I mean, maybe this takes place in an alternate version of Earth where there is one mountain.
Yeah, there's literally only one mountain anywhere.
Mount Fairy, I guess, is what we would call it. But, yeah,
oh, my God.
So then they go on a journey, and Tybalt, at this point, is like, I don't know, man. Does this thing even exist? Which kind of gets to our, like, well, yeah, you kind of should know it exists, right, Tybalt? What do you think? Have you never seen her before? But I guess he hasn't. I don't know. Maybe he's a real dummy. They're all pretty dumb, so that works for me. But they do find someone, but not who we would expect. They find a fairy character, kind of.
Because they Cat and Fox overhear him saying he wants to leave, and they're like, "Oh no, the thing that Mangiafuoco told us not to do." But he's got 5...
Our one effing job.
He's got 5 shiny gold pieces, though.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the pieces.
Because I guess, we see him get paid that once, and I guess that's all the pay he's ever received in his entire time at the circus.
It was all paid in front.
Yep.
Well, Pinocchio, I'll give you your pay all up front. Mm-hmm. And taken care of.
Also, I guess Cat and Fox don't get paid, because you would think they would get something similar for also being performers in the circus. I guess.
Yeah, like I just their value here, like you kind of would figure their whole thing would be like, because I don't think this is what happens. That Mangiafuoco is like, go get Pinocchio back, trick him into thinking he's a real boy, and then or kidnap him or whatever. But that's not what they're doing, right?
No, they just want to steal from him. Mangiafuoco doesn't even know that he left at this point.
It's so weird. So yeah, they set up a whole operation. It's very, very involved, and pretend to be this fairy in an outfit and like a costume. It's great.
And in a great twist, Tybalt immediately sees through all the holes in this plan. The only time anyone in this movie displays any logic.
Well, yeah, but then when they're walking away, I feel like there's the bit where Pinocchio's like, that sounded like the fox and the cat. And then Tybalt's like, that's weird, right? I don't think he ever quite puts it together. I think he just doesn't trust any fairy. Like, no matter who showed up, he would be like, this is bullshit. He's like trying to fucking ghost hunter these guys and like prove that it's not true.
But also the cat jumps out at one point because Tybalt's asking too many questions and tries to shoot them.
Yeah.
So they can clearly see, he's wearing a bag on his head like he's in the KKK.
Yeah.
But he's clearly a cat wearing a bag on its head. And they can't even put that together, that this cat with a gun might be the cat they know that has a gun.
Oh my god. Well, those are a dime a dozen. There's only one enchanted talking horse, but there is... You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a cat with a gun in Pinocchio.
Oh my god, I forgot about that stupid line. like if you spit, you'll hit a witch or a fairy or something like that. That's not true at all, Tybalt.
Yeah, Tybalt's full of shit.
Tybalt's a goddamn liar.
He's really making stuff up as he goes, and I respect that, but also it's not really doesn't really work that well.
I'm just not a fan of Tybalt.
No, fuck him. Pinocchio's cool, and he wants to do dumb shit, and I appreciate that. So then, what happens after this? This part I can't remember.
Well, we got to go to the ferry to be a real boy, right?
Right. And what happens then?
So they go to the mountain pass, and the fucking, she has a cockatoo or like a macaw.
Yep.
That is like the protector of the mountain. And there's like this weird standoff where a lot of bullshit happens that I can't quite remember.
Me neither. Is this part like hypnotizes you? Because I definitely watched this movie. And I don't remember what happens. I remember where it goes, but like, yeah.
I remember Tybalt being like, I'll take you on. I'm not scared. Like, Tybalt wants to back out of Pinocchio. It's like, no, Tybalt, we gotta face our fears. Come on, you're my father.
Right.
And Tybalt's like, whoa, Pinocchio, I don't want to die young.
Right, because Tybalt's whole arc in this is he's a coward. And then every so often he displays not that, and then proves himself. Is this where he jumps over the bridge, or is that later?
Yes,
he jumps over a huge fence.
That
covers the length of this valley.
And the way that is shot, it does not seem like he's going to clear the fence.
Dude, no.
The camera goes under, and like he gets closer to the fence, but he does make it. But yeah, wild camera move there. I
can't. Why was the bird trying to stop them? He didn't seem evil, except for that moment when he's like, I'm coming for you.
I don't know. I got no idea. But at this point, also the police are doing stuff, right? They're like getting their noses into it
because they're bandits. They have to keep the people safe.
Yeah, and
this is the first time the cop, who has been showing up periodically throughout the movie, we just haven't mentioned him because none of his scenes matter.
Yeah.
This is the first time he actually says why he's after criminal, like what criminals he's after and what they did.
Right. And what is that?
Well, it turns out that there's some banditos about who have been stealing from people while they're at the circus. And he's deduced that they must be part of the circus, and their ringleader must be Pinocchio, who distracts the crowds while they do their stealing.
It adds up.
It's good detective work until the Pinocchio is the bad guy part.
Yeah, I think this guy just hates Pinocchio. Maybe that's why Geppetto was like, he can't see you, is because this guy just fucking hates little wooden boys. And like, if he saw Pinocchio, he's like, he's doing it. I know it. Somehow his Pinocchio's involved. But yeah, I feel like the way to get around that as the detective would be like, wait a second. How long has he been part of them? Not as long as the murder or the robberies? I guess it's not him.
Checks out.
Yeah, but they don't think that. They just go, I guess it is. So then we get to the end of the movie, right? We're pretty much done.
Kinda.
Geppetto goes to jail too, right? Or something?
Yes, because they both wind up in jail together.
Why is Geppetto in jail?
Diggins? Why is Geppetto in jail?
So Geppetto was missing Pinocchio. We got a little scene of him earlier where it's the same exact scene of him looking out and watching Pinocchio do tricks, but they added a night filter to it.
Right, and he's not seeing it, and I'm like, because by that point Pinocchio had also left the circus. I was like, oh, is he back?
Yeah, I also thought
not.
that. I was like, oh, he went back home. But no, it fades out, and it turns out Geppetto is just thinking wistfully about when he had Pinocchio there. And Tybalt, I guess.
Shit.
Yeah.
And Tybalt,
he doesn't give a fuck. He's glad to get Tybalt out of the picture. Quick, Pinocchio, take Tybalt with you on your adventure.
I don't think Geppetto does like Tybalt. I think that's the subtext of all of the scenes with Geppetto and Tybalt.
I think that's right. I don't like Tybalt. He's right.
But the implication, I guess, is that after that, he missed Pinocchio so much that he tracked down the circus to try to find him. So he's not in jail. He's kidnapped by Mangiafuoco.
Right.
It probably bears mentioning just quickly that, so this will make sense at the end. The fairy tells Pinocchio that she is unable to turn him into a boy, that he has to, like, act human or whatever to do that.
Right. And I'm like, who says?
Yeah, right.
You can bring the wooden boy to life, but you can't turn wood into flesh. Where's the lines?
When they leave, it turns out that she was lying. She could easily turn him into a real boy, but she wants him to earn it through something.
Learn a goddamn lesson, that's what.
Through, like, heroism, as if he doesn't already do heroism. That's how the whole movie starts.
I want to see if I can remember the exact line, because it's bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like, the only way to become human is to be human.
That's right.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I didn't replicate this actress's accent. The only way to become human is to be human.
Well, I guess that gets at something else we haven't really talked about. Sometimes Pinocchio does an accent, and sometimes Tybalt does an accent. Did you guys pick up on this?
It's mostly when they're saying Italian words, like when they call people signor or signorina or something.
Senorita!
But, like, it's weird.
Not senorita, signorina.
Senorina!
It carries on, though, throughout that sentence, too. If it'll be like, Senorina, I want you to go to the circus. Like, it's really strange. And I guess this goes to the fact that they only tried once, and they just, they had to try some of these things out on the fly. But yeah, it's super weird. So then we're pretty much at the climax, right?
More or less.
Yeah. More or less.
So they do. Have you guys seen The Greatest Showman?
Hold on. There's one more important thing we didn't mention, and that also I need to question the timeline of.
Oh, God, what is it?
After they almost get arrested by the cop, and Tybalt and Pinocchio make their escape, Pinocchio still has the cop's handkerchief.
Oh, fuck this stupid thing.
And Tybalt looks at it and goes, I think I'm putting something together, but I have to go check on my own. I'll be right back. And he runs off. And then later, he finds Bella after Pinocchio's been captured by Mangiafuoco. And he doesn't trust her because he doesn't trust anybody.
Yep.
But they talk for a little bit, and then she pulls out her handkerchief, and he goes, wait, I've seen that handkerchief before. I understand everything now. But if he didn't recognize the handkerchief from before, what did seeing the first handkerchief make him think about and try to go do?
Yeah, right. He didn't put both handkerchiefs together and be like, oh my God, those are matching handkerchiefs.
That's a good question.
He does it when he sees Bella's, but he seems like he's had a revelation when he sees the first one, and nothing ever comes of that because he realizes this now when talking to Bella.
Yeah, that's a good question.
This movie's so bad.
No, it's pretty cool, but that part is weird.
Makes you think.
Makes you think. Not as good of a movie as we thought.
Yeah, you know what? The ironclad writing, the super tight plot that they'd put together. Now I'm starting to see the holes.
Yeah, and so we're pretty much at the end. So I did ask, have you guys seen Greatest Showman? That movie?
No.
I saw it like one time in theaters, not since.
So it's not very good, but also I've seen it, but. I'm wondering about is, so this movie ends with Pinocchio's like, I gotta go back and do circus stuff. But the big, movie climax is Circus Fire, and that's the climax of Greatest Showman 2. And I'm like, is that something? No, only, I mean, it made so much fucking money. I want to say it was like the 10th highest grossing movie that year, so we probably will get a sequel.
I remember it being like hugely successful for some reason.
But Hugh Jackman. Now I'm wondering, is that something that almost always happens in circus? Is there a circus fire in Dumbo? I feel like there is, right? Is he like a fireman at some point, and there's like a fire emergency?
I think that's just like an act, though. I don't think there's a real fire in Dumbo.
But it like goes out of control, I think. Maybe this is just the newish one, but like something breaks, and it doesn't burn the place down, but it does like almost kill Dumbo.
I mean, if you think about it, there's nothing more dangerous in a circus than a fire.
Yeah,
right?
It's terrifying, especially in one like this where the whole thing is covered in gas. Because the fire in this circus spreads like a fuse has been lit when it accidentally catches on fire. The fire like walks up the stairs slowly, lighting the whole place up.
You know what's really susceptible to fire, Nando?
What?
Wood.
You know what else is really susceptible to fire?
Boys?
Yeah, like humans. I feel like...
Yeah, I was thinking, like, when he first threw the lantern and the fire started, I was going, oh, fire is bad for wood. And then I thought about it for a second, I was like, oh, but it's also bad for people. Like, it's the same thing, basically.
Yeah. And if this...
I mean, it's a much more horrible death if you're wood, right? You just catch fire and it spreads and it's over, right?
I guess. I mean...
I don't know.
But before that fire even happens, I just want to bring that up. So, Pinocchio, the cops show up, everybody's at the climax, and the cops are like, I know what's going on. You're doing robberies, and it's all bad. Now, I'm wondering, now, I feel like I haven't really put this together yet. Who is doing the robbing?
It's the cat and the...
And the fox.
But they're in the circus, right?
But they're the first
for a
act,
bit.
So I guess maybe after they finish their act, they sneak out and do the robbery.
I guess that's fair.
My question is, why would Mangiafoco have this whole big circus with all these acts and only have 2 of his guys in on the robbery plan?
Yeah!
I would think you'd do it with everybody so that this kind of thing, this Greatest Showman thing doesn't happen.
Also, I think there's a bit later, earlier, where... they're coming up with different acts or like brainstorming acts, and at one point I think it's the fox is like, well, turn off all the lights and I'll touch everybody's feet. Remember that?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that a reference to something?
Like, get out of here, Quentin Tarantino. Nobody asked you.
I didn't understand that. But yeah, so the Mangiafoco, as part of his like scheme to get out of being caught, lights the whole circus on fire and runs away. And this is a whole lot of bullshit. The cat kidnaps Bella with his gun. There's a lot of guns. Everybody's shooting guns and stuff.
The fire initially starts on a very thin line that snakes exactly across the midsection of the circus, dividing it in half, as though he had carefully laid a thin line of oil beforehand just in case this happened.
Yeah,
he knows.
It's going up like a tinderbox. It's crazy. And the fox is just caught. The guy still has his gun. The cat, and the cat takes Bella, but then that doesn't work, and Bella just gets trapped in fire. And Pinocchio's like, "I'll save you," or like, I don't even know if he is like that. But I forget exactly.
I'm coming, Bella.
Well, I forget where we get to this, but it goes from like Pinocchio on the ground, Bella trapped in fire, to Pinocchio swinging from the rafters to save Bella like Tarzan. Where'd he get? What's going on there?
It's a lot at once.
It's a lot at once. Also, Pinocchio's outfit in this is yellow, which doesn't look good, obviously. But also, it's like a big yellow fire. I don't know. A lot of yellow on
the golden
screen.
boy.
Yeah. And he saves Bella and then dies in a fire.
Yeah. He sacrificed himself, which is the most human thing you can do. To sacrifice yourself.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he just falls in a big fire.
Yeah. It really should be. Well, I guess if he's not a boy yet, the height doesn't kill him because he's wood. But the fire, like, he's just engulfed in fire.
Yeah, like, it's a fire. It's not great for boy. It does. I assume, does he turn into a boy during this or after?
It's unclear.
Okay, but yeah, like, I don't know. He's treated. Everything is fine, I guess. Also, this place is fucking exploding. This isn't just a fire. It is like meteors are falling from the earth. It's insane.
Well, they'd stolen all of those barrels of gunpowder from all the houses and put them in the tent. Because they'd stunk everything back to the tent. So a lot of explosions going off once they reach those.
But yeah, Pinocchio becomes a real boy because he did
with a new face.
Well, but
he has a whole new face.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like,
no, the proportions are different. I'm telling you.
Oh, sure, it is different. I'm trying to find the clip of it now. It looks a little bit different.
I'm telling you, he's got like a new face.
It's different in the way that like an animator went into Blender and like stretched his face 10% and went good enough.
But like it doesn't for me. Like in the back, I would be like, just that's the same thing. Like if I wasn't standing right next to him, I can't tell the difference. He looks the same. When he's wood, he doesn't look that woodeny. He kind of has some lines and some roughness on his face. He does not look like wood at all. But his skin-toned wood, it's so weird. Even like his hair doesn't look really as that. Like his hair is pretty much real when he's fake, which is also weird. Yeah. Did he get real human hair? He's like digging up graves.
He took some of his own. Or Tybalt's. It's horsehair.
Oh, Tybalt hair. So then the movie's
fine
over.
Horsehair wig.
So the movie's over, right? We figure we got this part done. The man of Foucault's in trouble. End of story, right?
Well, Nando, you're forgetting. What about them handkerchiefs?
What about them handkerchiefs?
Well, it turns out Tybalt has discovered, through the magic of handkerchiefs, that Bella's handkerchief contains the symbol of the detective's family. And then the detective goes, my daughter, she was kidnapped 12 years ago or whatever. And Mangiafuoco, you think he demands Mangiafuoco tell him what really happened, because the story he'd always told Bella is that he found her in the woods one day. And so you're thinking like, it's going to turn out that he kidnapped her and everything's will be tied up in a neat little bow. And he goes, I bought her off of a guy that kidnapped her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait a second. And even the detective is even going like, I became a policeman just so I could track down the people who kidnapped my daughter. And I'm like, you still haven't. Mangiafuoco just bought her. Some other dude kidnapped her.
Yeah. That's really weird. I don't know what's going on there. Why did you think they did that?
I don't know.
I couldn't figure this out either. Do you think they're setting up for a sequel?
Yeah.
Pinocchio 2, the truer story where he goes and fights like the fucking mafia or something.
Pinocchio, a 2 story.
Oh my god. Yes, that's actually what we need. Pinocchio Down Under. What else?
Well, the fairy sounds like she might belong there. She feels like she might be like a British person trying to do an Australian accent.
Yeah, that feels right.
Weird amalgam of those two things that I can't put my finger on.
It is like I do think I don't know how easy it is to find clips of this without actually buying the movie. But definitely check out, watch the bits on your own that we're talking about, if you can find them on YouTube, just to hear some of these accents, because they're all over the place. Like, the cop has a weird accent, but it's not that they have weird accents. They're all hiding weird accents. It's really strange. So then he's like, okay, she has a dad now. That's good.
Hooray!
Yeah. By that point, I had forgotten that was something. The horse comes and starts telling us, and I'm like, oh, I guess, yeah, that sounds important. Like, that's good. Extra nice thing. I figured the whole fire and arresting Mangiafuoco, that was probably that was the big problem. But then, yeah, the whole nother little movie has been happening behind our backs.
But I mean, the cop has also, up until this point in the movie, been bumbling at best, antagonistic at worst. Yeah. So it's weird that he's part of the happy ending.
That's a good point. But yeah, so then they do a circus. That's the end of the movie. Big old circus.
Yep, we see the same animations as before of everyone doing their tricks.
Well, do you remember Pinocchio's new trick?
No.
Little on the nose, Pinocchio. He jumps through a bunch of rings of fire.
Oh yeah, a thing he said.
Did we learn nothing, Pinocchio?
A thing he said he would make Tybalt do earlier in the movie.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, maybe he thinks he's fireproof. I don't know. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, he lived through it once. Now he's like, I can never be slayed by fire.
Yeah, I'll become an even realer boy, Tybalt. It won't even count. Yeah, this movie's awful. It's really, really horrible.
Yeah,
it's got a weird out song, very aggressive, like credits music. Yeah, I didn't like it.
I loved it. I would recommend it to all of my friends.
So I have it going, and the first card is like directed by, screenplay by They're on Images. I don't know if you guys remember these. They're just like little drawings of circus stuff. One of them is a cannonball, but it's not shooting a guy. It's shooting a cannonball. That's weird. It should shoot a guy in the circus. They're gonna wage war.
Maybe
right, you don't go to the circus.
Maybe it's like the 1812 Orchestra by Tchaikovsky,
where
they just have a performance that needs to be punctuated by a cannon firing.
Might as well. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're the people that made this movie, I didn't care for it, but hey, good for you, man. You made a movie. I don't know. There's somebody named, so it seems like the main guy behind this is named Vasily, I'm gonna butcher this, but Vasily something. Hold on, sorry, I'm trying to find the.
Let me see if I can take a crack at it. I've been
told... actually, this isn't so bad. Vasily Rovinsky. So this guy did a lot of stuff for this movie. Animation supervisor. Like, if you look at the credits, this name pops up a bunch, I believe. So
this was his passion project, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
This was his Doolittle.
Wrote the music for Bella's song, just all over the place. Something called Disclosure Song he also wrote.
I think that's the final one where they tell everybody about Manjafuoco's crime.
Oh yeah, that is a song. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's not good.
He also wrote this with the Sveshnikov brothers.
Like you can tell, their fingerprints are all over it. It's got that classic Sveshnikov brothers thing. Also, for some reason, the main LLC behind this movie, I just want to throw this out here, is named Licensing Brands LLC. What the fuck is that?
They license brands.
To themselves? To others? Are they a licensed brand? I don't know.
Well, who could ever forget the Pinocchio A True Story brand now?
I mean, it's huge. By the way, did you guys see the post-credit scene? No, I'm just kidding. There's no post-credit scene.
I was like, what?
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it would be so funny.
What I miss.
But yeah, that's the whole movie. It's really awful.
Yeah.
One of the best movies we've ever done.
Yeah.
Or worst.
There's a certain point, DJ, where those two things become the same thing.
That's right.
I suppose.
I guess that's true.
Good golly gosh. This is...
Yeah. Woof. I mean, I haven't checked on the internet. Has this made a big hit? Like, is this like a pop, like kind of cult disaster movie where
like
everybody on YouTube makes fun of it? Yeah, like or like Tall Girl or something like that.
I don't think a lot of people have actually watched it. I think it's mainly the clips that have been floating around Twitter.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they should definitely check this out. But also, it's really terrible. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, you listen to us talk about it for as long as it is, plus some time. So the juice is squeezed out of this lemon. There's nothing left.
Yeah, we hit all the points. Skiddy.
Yeah, what the fuck was that, by the way? When does that happen?
It's when Geppetto lets him go join the circus. That's what he says as he runs out to the window to hop on Tybalt's back.
Yeah, it's really awful little... Now, I know Pauly Shore is kind of known for saying things weird. He has like his own little like lip smack kind of sound he's famous for, but this isn't that. I don't know. It was weird.
You ever get so excited about something you just got to start shouting skidee?
Just scat music at yeah.
Oh god,
it was great. Yeah, I wonder where this will rank among the Pinocchio movies of this year. The Disney one with Tom Hanks, this one, and then the one with the Guillermo del Toro one that's in World War II. Really, just run the gamut on.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, could go either way. All right, you guys, you want to get to our classic segment?
Yeah, let's get to our classic segment.
Let's get to our classic segment. DJ, do you have any wonderful, special, most wonderful things to recommend to the fine people? You know what it is?
I have some wonderful...
You know what it is? This is like drunk Mark Wahlberg is what this sounds like. This is why DJ's so good at it. It's like Mark Wahlberg is just about to pass out.
I hope this movie never finds its way walking around the Boston streets at night and runs into any minorities.
Yeah. Oh my god. Can't get enough of that. But yeah.
Tybalt, come on, we're gonna beat this guy up. Yeah.
Tybalt, you don't look like you're from here. You gotta teach him a lesson.
No. This is really dangerous, Pinocchio. We gotta get out of here. I'm your father.
Pinocchio, this is a hate crime.
And then alternatively, Tybalt, I don't want to get on those planes. It's too dangerous. That doesn't really make sense. He would want to because he's brave. Tybalt would be like, I'm afraid to fly in a plane, Pinocchio.
Yeah,
and
Tybalt
Pinocchio would be like, oh, missed opportunity for me.
Tybalt convinces him not to go on the planes, and later they're talking, and Pinocchio's like, Tybalt, if we'd been there, we would have stopped that.
Oh, man. But yeah, DJ, what do you have to recommend to the fine people?
Okay, so I would like to recommend an anime, if I may.
An anime. Interesting.
An anime?
An anime, yeah. So this is the last season, the finale of Attack on Titan. It's been going on. The series finale is this Sunday. I've been watching this season, this part of the season. I've really been enjoying it. I think Studio Map has done like a really good job of the animation. I know I've mentioned on the show before that there's some controversy around the show. I know, but I really enjoy it. I haven't read the manga, but from what I understand, it's pretty similar. I will say I have some concern because there's like a lot to wrap up in the last episode, and I don't know if we're gonna have like a Game of Thrones situation where it's like, and cut to there's a new king. The only difference is, like, if I am dissatisfied, I can always go back and read the manga. But Game of Thrones, obviously everyone knows that story. But the one thing with the manga is that the guy who writes this is like a pretty bad illustrator. So like the from what I've heard, like, just having something that's animated has been very enjoyable. But I've liked the story. I've liked the characters. So I've been enjoying it very much. So it's on Hulu. So the barrier to entry is not incredibly high. So yeah, and if I could give like a little preview of a rec that I may have coming in the future, have you guys heard of an anime coming out called Spy Family?
I have, yes.
Have I mentioned this on the podcast?
I have too, but I don't remember what it is.
So it's the premise is it's kind of like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith deal where there's like the husband's a spy and the wife's an assassin, but like they don't know each other's occupations, like they're pretending to be a family. But they have a daughter who's a telepath, and like she knows like everything. She's a telepath. Like they don't know that she's a telepath, but they're like a little fake family that was like put together for this mission. And it looks very cute. The animation looks like very crisp, and it's like just like comedy kind of slice of life looks like. But I'm very excited for that. That comes out in like 2 weeks. But I may be wrecking that in the future if I find Spy Family to be something that's interesting. So a lot of anime on the horizon while I. Wait for there's a new reality TV show coming out on Netflix in a week called The Ultimatum, which if I talked to you guys about this show,
no, definitely not this
so.
one.
Oh man, so I'm pretty excited for this. All right, guys, so Nando, it's from the same people who do Love Is Blind, so you might hate it, but so here's the premise, right? So let's say Nando, I'm going to use you as an example if you're okay with this. So let's say that
depends on what I'm doing. Is it another Mark Wahlberg style event? Then I'm all in, baby. No. Yes, use me as the example.
They take people who are already in relationships. So let's say that you and Hannah, right? And one of the people in the relationship proposes an ultimatum. So for like most of the people, it's getting married. Let's say for you, it's like, Hannah, I'm tired of Mortimer sleeping in the bed, and in order for our relationship,
this is ridiculous, DJ. Nando would never be tired of that.
My favorite thing is how he sleeps. He lays right between my legs and he cuddles up. It's my favorite.
Is this something Hannah has a problem with?
No, she loves it too. Of course. How could you not? It's the best.
I'm trying to give something that would be like an actual real life ultimatum.
He bites sometimes, so that
there it is.
So yeah.
Hannah's like, Mortimer's got to stop biting. And you're like, no, Mortimer can keep biting however much he wants. So then Hannah would go, fine, we're going on the ultimatum. So what the show is you and Hannah would go on the show. And there would also be a lot of other couples on the show. And you two would date 2 other people for 3 weeks and you would live together. And then you would have to decide whether to agree to the ultimatum and go back with your original partner you came on with or leave with your new person.
What the fuck?
I love it. I love it because it's basically a show called I Want to Cheat on My Spouse, but they won't let me, so I'm going to do it on Netflix, and that's amazing. Now, I guess not spouse because it's just significant other. Now,
yeah.
Is it like, are they at the same resort? Or is it like
they all seem to be in the. It looks like a circle style apartment complex.
Oh
so
my
they
God.
move into apartments together. Yeah,
this is horrible. Are the people that they get with like similar to their current person?
It's not clear. So the show premieres. The first batch of episodes is Wednesday, April 6th.
Okay.
So I will report more. Like maybe that report the podcast we record then. But I will report back with some of the details. But I am so excited for this. Diggins, your reaction was perfect, right? It's like, what the fuck?
Is every episode the same people, or is it different people per episode?
Again, I'm not sure. I
Tell
think
me,
it
DJ.
Tracks the same
Explain.
People. I assume it tracks the same people because it's like an ongoing like Love Is Blind thing. Because it's the same producers, right? So I assume it's the same people.
This is amazing. I just don't understand these shows where people can't just like. It's just so funny how there's so many reality shows like this where it's like, yeah, just break up. I don't know. Don't get married.
Right?
Whatever. It's not against the law.
Yeah, I feel like if my partner suggested this to me, I'd be like, so we're done here, I guess.
No, Diggins. Wait, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I want us to go on a reality show so I can determine whether or not I want you to be able to marry me or something. That's actually more reasonable.
And I want to be able to date someone. It's almost like an extended hall pass. I want to date someone else. Can you imagine going back with your partner like after... God.
Like, I think there's something to. I could see a show, and I'm sure they've done this. It's kind of like a Rumspringa for married people just about to get married, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna. Is that what like? Is there a show called like Temptation Island or some shit like that?
There is, yes. Or X on the Beach. Those are both in the same vein.
So yeah, like that's that. But this is so much more like contrived and also pointless.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Yeah, like what's a happy ending for this show?
Yeah,
right?
I guess I will. I guess I'll change my behavior. You win this one.
So honey. Wait. Do both people in the relationship get to date other people, or only the one being ultimatumed?
No, they both.
So the person who gave the ultimatum could come back and be like the person who was given the ultimatum was like, oh, I want to be with you. I'll agree to it. And that the person who gave it is like, actually, never mind.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'll report back with that show, but I'm very excited for it.
Sounds wild. Diggins, you got anything to recommend to the fine people?
I mean, nothing that insane, but I'll give it a shot. I have some recs to make.
Do your best. Yeah, give it a try.
I have 2 recs to make. One is for a movie. You might think after watching a lot of the Oscar movies last week in preparation and then watching the Oscars themselves, I would have been all movied out. But nope, the very next day, I sat down and watched The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Oh, yeah, so good.
Yeah, the Joel Cohen directed adaptation of Macbeth starring Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. Incredible. I mean, it's just like, it's an abridged form, obviously, because the movie's only an hour, 45 minutes, but it's just the play, like it's the dialogue and everything, but just the way they shot it and like turned it into a movie looks so phenomenal. Especially the choices they made in portraying the witches.
Yeah.
Like every scene that has the weird sisters in it is trippy and gorgeous and just like, I struggle to imagine a better depiction of that scene that like could exist. It's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, rocks. He's so good, Denzel. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Do more Shakespeare. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, like Denzel and Frances McDormand are killing it. Like all the actors are killing it.
Denzel's apparently the ambassador for Hollywood or whatever.
He should be. I can't think of anyone better.
Like I don't know who I can't remember who it wasn't anyone like big, but I can't remember who played the Thane of Ross, but they also did a great job.
Which one's that?
The guy who's kind of playing all sides.
Oh yeah, he's from stuff. I went back and looked at him too. You're talking the guy with the humongous sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me check. Let me find this because I remember this. That is Alex Hassel. So they are from. So then Cowboy Bebop. Oh, this is Translucent on The Boys. That's what I kind of know him from. Although he's only in like 1 or 2 episodes. Okay. But yeah, he's very good. Weird looking dude. Not like with the strange face, or anything, although he's an interesting face, but just a very interesting kind of posture out of him in this. So
yeah,
very fun.
Yeah, great movie. If you, it's on Apple TV, so if you have that, you can just watch it there. My second rec is I played a board game yesterday with a friend of mine called War of the Ring, which is this big 2-player board game where one side is playing as the free peoples of Middle-earth, and the other side is playing as Sauron and all his forces. And it's kind of an asymmetric war game where Sauron has way bigger armies, and your goal as that player is to try to overrun enough cities on Middle-earth that like you get to a point where you win. Whereas the Free People's player have much smaller armies, and also Sauron can freely replenish his armies. Any unit that dies just goes back into his pool. Any unit that dies on the Free People's side is permanently removed from the game, so they can only lose so many.
This is cool.
Yeah. So, but they Free People's, in addition to having the same kind of like military mechanics as the Sauron player, also has the Fellowship and the Ring Bearers, Frodo and Sam, and they can win the game by getting them all the way to Mount Doom and throwing the ring in.
Right.
Which the Sauron player has some things they can do to try to slow that down. So it ends up being this kind of race where the Free People's player can win a military victory if they take enough of the Sauron strongholds, but like realistically that's not going to happen. So it ends up being this weird balance where both players have to strike the right balance between using their resources to either get the ring to Mordor or slow that down, and military, so that the Sauron player so they can conquer fast enough, the Free People's player so that they can prevent Sauron from conquering before they can destroy the ring. It's complicated. It takes a little while to learn all the rules, but it's really fun. And I think it's a good, it's one of those games where you could like do it on the same side each time and like you get a good grip for it, but then also you could just switch it up and then like suddenly the game's like totally different. It's only 2 players, which is a little unfortunate for a game that big, but if you're a person who is deep enough into board gaming that that's a sound investment for you, then I definitely recommend it.
According to this website, you can play it with 4 people, maybe. So that's cool.
Oh,
I don't know, it says a 2 to 4 person game. Yeah. I imagine you just split up in it. Yeah. Like
I guess you would like divide the different races and stuff.
Yeah. It's
anyway.
But yeah, it looks really cool. How is it, do you know where do the bad guys know where Frodo and them are?
So typically no, but as part of the thing that you can do to slow them down, it is possible for them to be revealed.
Right.
And that can be a helpful thing because you have special like Nazgul soldiers that can go anywhere on the board. So if you know where the Fellowship is, you can send them right there.
Love that. That sounds very fun. I'm very into this game. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. I have 2 things that I'm very excited about. I'll say in this order, let's say. First one, been reading a new book called The Bad Guys Won. Have either of you heard of this?
Ooh, no. I don't think
Probably not. It's from It's from 2004. It's by Jeff Pearlman, who wrote Showtime. Here's the full title. The Bad Guys Won, a season of brawling, boozing, bimbo chasing, and championship baseball with Straw, Doc, Mookie, Nails, the Kid, and the rest of the 1986 Mets, the rowdiest team to ever put on the New York uniform and maybe the best. It's great. Fascinating.
My mom probably has that because she loves the Mets.
It's such an interesting book because they're just a disaster.
How have we not had a winning time style show but for the 86 Mets? Because that team was like wilding out, man. Like, that would be a hell of a team.
It should be.
We have that one Simpsons episode that has Daryl Strawberry in it.
I was gonna say, and that other guy, I can't remember his name because he hasn't come up too much in the show or in the book. But one of them was on Seinfeld, right, for the Magic Loogie episode. Hernandez, Keith Hernandez.
Oh no, that's
the Dykstra does come up though, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. What a funny name. But yeah, it's just a really interesting book because they're absolute lunatics who, like, the first chapter is just about how were notorious for destroying airplanes they flew on by like having food fights and fucking ripping the chairs off. It's insane. But like also some of them are bad people, and some of them are good, and it's an interesting. Very interesting dynamic. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if after Winning Time, maybe HBO goes like, let's make some other of these Jeff Pearlman books. I could see part of it being that Winning Time, to some extent, does make the Lakers look great, or like it makes the new Lakers look cool and like, oh, they were forward thinking. But whereas this makes it look like there was a guy who was smart, who was the coach or manager or whatever. I forget how this works, but like so many of the players are so irreprehensible that I don't think it would work in a movie or in a show.
Yeah.
Like Daryl Strawberry hit his girlfriend or something, or wife, like right before the last game of the season. Yeah, so like I don't know if you could spin that the same way. It's like, oh, Magic Johnson, he doesn't know too much about Hollywood. This is tough for him. Like, but
yeah, that's fair.
But I think that the story, so it's like not the same kind of charming show, but it's a fascinating read. So love that. Other thing, I was listening to that when I was doing a lot of driving this weekend, because I went up to the city to see with my mom because she got tickets for her birthday. Went to see Six. You guys seen this?
Yeah. Michelle has. She said good things about it.
I've listened to
rules.
it. I have not seen it.
Yo,
yeah,
such a fun show. Hour and a half long. You're in and you're out, which couldn't love that more. And it's just like it's so tight. It's got such a high energy. There's really like one song that's like kind of your downer in the middle that you see it coming. And it's not a bad song, but like besides that it's such a lively show, and there's obviously all six of the wives. So for people that don't know, it's about the six wives of Henry VIII that everybody knows, like Anne Boleyn and all those guys. And it's a rock show set in kind of our universe, kind of where they are like, still, it's like they popped out of a teleport or like a portal. And they're talking about how they all died or whatever happened to them, and why each of them had the worst kind of shot. So there's one of them who has like kind of a song that you're like, oh yeah, that's like your memories. And it's good. But like almost all of the rest of them feel like really good pop songs. Some in different styles. There's one that's probably closer to like an Ariana Grande song. One that's I'd say a couple of them skew Destiny's Child. But yeah, it's just super fun. And yeah, you're in and out in an hour and a half, and all the singers are good. They're the only six people on stage besides the musicians. There's a couple of them in the back, but like. So they're all doing all of the performances, and it's very impressive how much each of them is doing and how much choreography there is. So, yeah, if you can get tickets, go see it. It's so much fun. There are going to be some awful high school performances of this and stuff in the future. you need like, because I can't imagine, like a community theater even, you would see this and you'd go like, oh yeah, it's perfect. There's six people. We can rustle up six people. And you know what? Jen, who did a Little Mermaid last year, she's going to be a shoe-in for one of them. She's always wanted to do this show. But then it's like you cannot. It's so hard to find six people talented enough to make that show work, because it's a unit. Like it is not. You can't have one good song and one bad song, because if the bad song is bad, that means that person who's not doing very well is also integral in every other song. So yeah, but it's so fun. And I do think if you can't get into the, New York to see it, which is very understandable, or you don't want to go for COVID reasons, who knows how this is going to play out. It's, we're recording this on the 30th / 31st. But I imagine this will tour a lot, kind of like Jersey Boys. I could see this going all over the place because it's such a small group. You could do it on just any stage.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a super easy tour. It's basically a concert.
Yeah. Cannot recommend it enough. And it's fun because you leave going like, I liked that one. And then you're like, you know what's genius about this? And I don't think this doesn't spoil it. But as an encore, they just do little bits of all the songs as like a little stitched together kind of mini song, or like mega song almost, like Megazord. And it's so much better than the overture in the beginning where they like play the instruments of all of the songs before you hear them. Because you leave the theater and you're like, oh yeah, I did like that song. And you know what? I remember this one was the first song they did, but that one was really good too. So I don't know. I like that. Like it's like a fireworks show ends with just like a shitload of fireworks, and you kind of get a good feeling going out of it. So yeah, I loved it. It should win all the awards this year. I have a feeling it will. I wouldn't be surprised if after Oscars this has like an even bigger bump. But I mean, like, place was packed. Everybody was having a ball, so I think it'll stick around for a while. I hesitate to ask this question, you guys, because I know the answer, but I still have to ask it. What are we doing next week?
Oh, Nando.
Yeah,
it's Dr. Michael Morbius
at my service. I don't even know if that line's
not
in
the
there
movie anymore.
Yeah,
right. Sorry, they cut that line. Shit.
At someone's service. Yeah.
It's some kind of bat radar, Nando, and that's what's nice to
oh my god, the reviews are pouring in. Would you believe it's getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Obviously, because it's going to be the greatest movie ever made. It's going to all 5 of the top 5 cheer-worthy moments of next year's Oscars are going to be from Morbius.
God. They can all be the moments from the Morbius trailer that got cut out of the movie. It's like cheer-worthy moments. He walks by the poster of Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, hooray! But also, I mean, like, yeah, the IMDb, the scores, the reviews are finally flooding in because it's the day the movie comes out. So like, they can't embargo the movie reviews post the movie being released. Not looking so hot, not looking great. Real shame. So yeah, that'll be next week. Get excited. Anything to plug, DJ?
Yeah, Rose's Rejections, we just put up, or it'll be up by the time you're listening to this, to our Love is Blind Season 2 episode. And then the next episode in 2 weeks, we're going to be covering the Courtship, which is like the NBC Bridgerton-style Bachelorette show.
Yeah. You're not going to do that one you just told us about?
No, and The Ultimatum, yeah. Because there's only a couple episodes out of each, so we're going to kind of hit a couple at once.
Nice.
So that'll be good. Also, I was on the, it's like pretty late at this point, but I was on the Way Too Early Oscar podcast on the Pop Break Network. I only bring it up because I crushed Diggins in the Pop Break pool, and I will crush him for every year because all I got to do is put the favorites, and I'll win every year. So unless someone changes something, I'm just going to be undefeated for the rest of the time in all my Oscar pools. So
everybody, somebody please clip that, save that bit for next year. When DJ loses the Pop Break Oscar pool.
Oh my god.
Just so we have something to point to.
I'm just saying, if they keep the format like this where it's so predictable, then all Oscar pools are going to become irrelevant because it's just based on what the favorites are. So
that's a great point. Yeah, they may may be the end of them.
It might. It really might.
What a shame.
There's no mystery anymore.
I wouldn't want that. Yeah. Diggins, what about you? Anything to recommend that you are doing, which would be a plug? I always do.
Yeah.
Can't help myself.
I have my usuals. I have my newsletter, a little perspective.substack.com, and I stream at twitch.tv/thisisanoddname. Also, if you don't follow my Twitter, you may have missed I had a piece go up in Emily Vanderwerf's newsletter episodes, which is Emily Vanderwerf, excuse me, is a longtime online critic. She's currently the editor-at-large for culture at Vox, and she runs her own newsletter where she does her own pieces and runs some freelancer stuff. So I wrote something for her about John Cena and his surprising vulnerability as an actor and how that makes him stand out from other big muscle hunks.
And you're specifically talking about the fact that I could shoot him. He is vulnerable to bullets and other kinds of weaponry, right?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly it. Well, I mean, you joke, Nando, but the fact that he's willing to be physically vulnerable in the stuff that he does in ways that, say, The Rock are not, is part of it.
That's true. I could not. I could not harm The Rock. It would lead to my ruin. I would not want to. But yeah, so it's cool. So how do people find that?
You can go to... so it is behind a paywall, so you have to subscribe to the newsletter to read it. But it is a very good newsletter. So, if you have the money, I think it's a good investment. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in it, although that does help. So you can go to emilyvdw.letterdrop.com, and that'll take you to her newsletter. And I'm one of the more recent ones. The Welcome Vulnerability of John Cena is the name of my piece.
Cool.
Nice.
Can you... Is there a way to get John Cena to see it? We should bug him. Nah, he's probably busy. He's probably learning another language or some cool shit. He does cool shit.
Or how to play the piano or all the other million things he's learned how to do.
Yeah. People that are better than me, I hate them. For this week, what do I have? 2 videos, actually. So one is going up maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. I can't remember. about it's called like Solving the Magneto Problem. It's about what the Marvel Cinematic Universe can do if they want to keep Magneto as a Holocaust survivor and set the movie in the present day. So like what our options are. It's something that kind of came out of a thing that I got. People were kind of bugging about after last video. And I think it's an interesting
90
question.
years old.
It's an option. Mel Brooks, baby. He's still kicking. But then I have another video that I'm working on that is my April Fool's video. So I thought about this. I was like, I'm going to put out an April Fool's video where I fan cast a Mojo for the whole time and the Mojo characters from X-Men. But then I was like, that's a great idea, but it would destroy my algorithm. Nobody would watch it. Like, people would watch it, but like you just can't do that on the YouTubes anymore. Or, I mean, you can, but it's a risk. So instead, I'm going to put that on Nebula, the streaming service that I put my videos all on, and it's just going to be like a little Nebula exclusive thing. So people that like that like learning about Mojo and the Mojo-verse characters from X-Men, they can watch it, and people that don't have to find out about it. So then it doesn't destroy my algorithm. So that'll be April 1st. It's kind of an April Fool's thing, although it is like it's a real video, so it will happen. It's not. I'm not lying, but it's just like a foolish thing to do.
I thought you were telling the truth until you said that, and now I think you're lying.
I know. Now I do sound like I'm lying. I like Mojo actually. I think Mojo's pretty cool. And,
is he related to Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls?
He is not, in fact, but maybe he is, but he's not. It's
much
a good
to consider.
Yeah. What are we doing? Well, so we got that next week. So I guess that's it. So until next week, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo!
Bye. We love you.